story space. Blah. Because I do gotta handle something real quick. So everyone grab water, grab snacks, get comfortable. Story time is going to be happening in approximately 20 minutes from now. So for me, that's going to be at 9:55, and then we'll officially start at around 10 p.m. for me. So technically 25 minutes, but yeah, you know. I will be right back. So send this to whoever you think would like to join. Spread the word, because I'm going to be reading the whole story. Voice acting included! Guys, there's sirens going off in the distance. Oh no! They're coming for me! All right, yeah, don't mind me. I'm just like sharing the space around to like my spaces to my active areas so that more people can join. I mean, it's not a big deal if not that many people join, but it would be nice, you know. It'd be cool. What's your guys' favorite food? What's your guys' favorite food? I want to see you guys talking about it in the threads. Hold on. Like underneath the tweet. Do 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 do. I love seeing like the comments, bro. And that shit's so funny. Ooh, fruit is really good. I like strawberries. Oranges? Pizza's your favorite food? Sushi? Based! I fucking love sushi. I need to have sushi again. Did you guys know that I found out the other day my local Super One fucking sells sushi? I've been told it's shit, but I was like, oh cool. You know? Nevertheless, stop! Stop! That's funny! I just saw what calamari posted! Oh, this is so good. No, I'm excited. Oh, dumplings. I love pot stickers specifically. They're like really good. Chicken pot stickers. Chef's kiss. They're so fucking good. You guys are all cool, by the way. Did I tell you guys that I almost had 200 fucking people in that other space the other night? That shit was fucking wild. Like, by the time I was done, there was like almost 200 people there. I was like, holy shit! What the fuck? That was like the biggest space I ever fucking hosted. Strawberries are absolutely amazing. I love strawberries so much. I specifically love I love I love strawberry smoothies. Strawberry smoothies. Strawberry smoothies are really fucking good. They're absolutely amazing. Hold on, I'll be like right back. I'm like talking my ass off. So, what are you guys excited to like? Okay, okay, hold on. Not excited now. What am I talking about? Okay, okay, okay. What is something that you want to know concerning Rebooted and his world, but I haven't said anything about it yet, and you haven't been able to ask me. You guys can ask me in the threads because I genuinely will answer any questions right now because we're waiting for it to turn 10 my time so that I can read to you guys. So it'll be about midnight my time by the time the story's done. But yeah, you guys can like ask questions in the threads because I genuinely like I want to hear what you guys want to know about. I want to hear what you guys think. I mean, because you guys are about to hear the man's story itself. Like, if you guys haven't been able to listen to the story, like, this is your chance, you know? Uh, and I'm excited to, like, tell it to you guys. God, I'm so excited to read the story because I like the voice acting in it. I like voice acting Lisa because, you know, my voice normally, like, you know, sounds like this. So when I kick on Lisa's voice, it's, like, actually, like, taken some of my friends off guard. It's so fucking funny because she has that, like, really, like, not preppy, but she has that like really mature female voice. So like hearing me talking like all like scraggly and shit, and then hear me bust out like the, but you know I care about you, Tom, right? I do, and it's like ah, so funny. I love doing it. Shoe size. His shoe size, got to be at least 11 in men's. He's got really big feet. No, people are gonna be weird about that. No, stop. Don't be weird about it. No, no, don't be weird about it. No, but he's got big feet. He's got like Sonic shoes. So, you know, he's got big feet. Can Rebooted travel world? No, he cannot. However, because of Void Mother, he will possibly gain that ability. But as of now, because the mansion's not over, I haven't done the mansion yet. But as of now, possibly at the end of the mansion, he does gain those abilities. Small spoiler, but he does gain a few more powers at the end because he does meet his mother for the first time, and she's like an all-powerful void being. So he does get some extra abilities, but like, you know, nothing too overpowered or crazy. Can Rebooted cook? Yes, he can. He can absolutely chef it up. And he learned it from the Pinkmana in his world because, you know, he has creepypastas. He lives in the mansion with like Slender and the rest of them. And all of the creepypastas are like their own versions of how I've made them. And Pinkmana, she's the chef of the mansion. So like she cooks dinner for everybody, she makes food. So he actually learned how to cook from her because normally he's the type of motherfucker to like catch a deer and then just straight up eat it, like no cooking, no prep, no nothing. But she was like, like you can't be disrespectful about it. She's like, you gotta learn how to properly eat. And so she fucking like taught him how to cook and shit. Are there any other classic characters in the mix, such as Fang, Mighty, Honey? Nope. Nope. In his world, it is just Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman. Because Rebooted, what a lot of people don't know, because they want to know, they're like, okay, well, is he based off of a Sonic? Is he based off of, like, you know, one of the Sonic games? No, absolutely not. He's not based off of, like, a Sonic game. He's not based off of, like, Sonic 1 or 2 or anything like that. He does have some similarities to modern and classic, but he's not based off of Sonic. He's based off of OG Sonic.exe. He is an EXE based off the original EXE. I'm not talking about X because personally I have a very high disdain for X. Personally, that's just my opinion. But I'm talking about like the OG Sonic.exe that was in the fan game that was made by I think Crimson the Bat? I think that's what their name is. I can't remember. I could be getting it wrong. That's my bad. It's been a while since, you know, I've had to look at the person who made it, so my formal apologies. Um, but yeah, he is based off of that original game, and a lot of people don't know that. So he's an EXE based off the original Sonic.exe. That's why he's called Sonic.exe Rebooted. That's why his story that I'm gonna be reading to you guys tonight is a stem off of the original story because he's a continuation. He's a rebooted version of the original. You see what I mean? See what I mean? I have a little play and weave in there, you know? I fucking love Rebooted. All right. How'd he react if he met humans and Nothingness? Ooh! Ooh, how would Rebooted react? Okay, so I would say more or less he'd probably react in the same way that he would react with any other EXE. I've talked about the possibility of him being canonically interactable in terms of like EXEs and stuff like that, because as of right now he's not. Every interaction that you see that includes Rebooted in another EXE is fanon. The only time I've ever spoken about possible canonical interactions is with Joe and Barris so far, because we did talk about Sally Alt and how she would interact with Rebooted. That was an interesting conversation. I wish I could tell you guys how it went. I can't right now because it happened a while back. But we had this like whole ass conversation about how her and Rebooted would react. And let's just say it would end in her sitting there sobbing and he's patting her back like it's okay. And she's just like, ah! She's like fucking crying and shit. I know me and Paris had like a really good fucking laugh about it. I did touch on it briefly with Joe. We didn't really go in depth, not enough to like have like a solid basis of how he and Lord X would interact. But I know that Joe and I did like prop up the question, but mainly because of Void Mother. Because again, Void Mother would be the reason he's able to canonically interact with anyone. So with human Xenophanes, Rebooted himself also has a human disguise, so he would probably switch to his own human disguise and be like, hey, check it out, I'm not the only one. Like, he'd be like, whoa, check it out. He'd be like excited about it. He'd be like, let's go, we're twinning, you know? He's very laid back when he meets other EXEs. He's a little defensive because it's new, but he's always more so curious rather than anything. He's not the violent type. He's not the type to be like, oh, I'm gonna kill you right away. Like, no. He more so wants to learn things because since he was trapped in his disc for so long, he never really learned things. He was never really taught anything. So anytime he meets like a new EXE or someone new, hell, like when he finds out that there's like EXEs of like Sally or Miles or Silver, like he's like blown away because he's used to just Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman because that's all he has. So if he meets anyone else, it's kind of like, whoa, this new, you know? So he's not curious in anything. He's never really like, oh, I'm better than you. Or, that's why I love Rebooted's interactions with other EXEs because I wouldn't say he's humble about it, but he's less prone to violence. You see what I mean? Also, yeah, human twinsies. Okay, let's see. I don't know much about Rebooted, but why is he so ripped? Not dissing his design, just want to know. So when he kills humans, he takes their energy. I'm gonna do a brief explanation about this. When he kills humans, he takes their soul energy, their actual like metaphysical energy, like what makes them alive. Essentially, he takes that. And when he was in the disc, he would take that energy, he would absorb it through the disc because he was stuck there. That's how he would get his power. And he used it to change his form because due to Zalgo literally taught him to hate himself. He taught him to hate Sonic because Zalgo hated Rebooted because of the fact that he looked like Sonic. Void Mother, when she first met him, when he was like a little itty bitty baby, she was in love. She was like, "Oh my god, you're so cute. You chose to look like Sonic. That's adorable." Like she loved it. But Zalgo was like, ew, what the fuck? I don't want a rat as my kid, essentially. And so Rebooted was basically taught to hate himself. So when he was in the disc, every time he would take the power from humans, he would use that to change his form. And since it was being taken from humans and not like other Mobians or anything, the human energy changed his physical form to look more like humans. So then in turn, it made him look more human, and he went with that because he looked less like Sonic and it made him happy. However, he did get to a point where he couldn't really get past the point that he's at now. He couldn't get past that in terms of like changing his form. The furthest he could go was his rage form, where he turns more animalistic rather than anything. But other than that, that was kind of his limit. So that's why he looks the way he does now, is because he kind of hit his limit. But he's happy with it. He's happier with how he looks. He likes how he looks. Rebooted actually likes how he looks now. He doesn't dislike it in any capacity, even though he would probably prefer not to be Sonic. That's why he has a human disguise. He's still overall happier with it than he was before. Important Rebooted lore question: is he a cat person or a dog person? Actually, he's a cat person. He doesn't like dogs. It's really funny because there was a moment that Tia and I did discuss where his canonical wife, her name is Ambrose, she originally had a dog named Rocky. We don't know if we're gonna keep Rocky as her pet. We've talked about it, but There was gonna be a moment where they had like a standoffish type thing where the dog was unsure if he was friendly or not, and then he was like, "Oh fuck, it's a dog." And he just doesn't like dogs. He also doesn't like Smile Dog. So like when Smile Dog comes after him, Smile Dog's not stupid, and he uses that to his advantage and sometimes like runs Rebooted down. It's really fucking funny. Yeah, so he doesn't like dogs. He really likes cats though. He because cats are very chill with him, and he likes cats. We know we know Rebooted has a rage mode. Does he have any others? There is a form that I have discussed with Code, actually. However, I don't know if it's going to be canonical. It depends actually on what happens with the I Spy lore. I'm not gonna get into it because it's gonna reveal a lot of shit, but let's just say he will possibly have a third form, but it depends on what happens in I Spy's story. Just letting you know. God, I remember the first time I heard the Lisa voice, it was dragons. But no, for real, honestly. Weird foot size comment. Would Rebooted watch SpongeBob? Absolutely, honestly, especially if it's with his son, because he has a canonical kid. His name's Manny, and Amber's and Rebooted, that's their adopted son, because Amber's adopted him, and then when she got with Rebooted, that technically became his kid too. So if Manny watches SpongeBob, he'll sit down with Manny and watch it, and he finds it so funny because in his world, he has his own like Suicide Squidward, so he's just kind of like, huh. It's so weird seeing regular Squidward because I'm so used to like Suicide Squidward, like it's so funny. If you were to take a vacation somewhere, where would it be? Anywhere away from water. The mountains, like the Rocky Mountains, like where I live, would probably be his most ideal vacation spot because he hates water. So nowhere near like beaches or anything like that. It would definitely just be like in the mountains and shit. He'd go camping. Is this the right thread to talk? And if so, I wanted to ask, can he travel worlds or dimensions? Oh, I already answered that. Yeah, he possibly earns that ability later on. Do you plan on writing more, like a sequel or something? The sequel is The Mansion. The sequel to his main story is The Mansion, which is my copies. It focuses on humans at the beginning, so like the main 6 human characters I have, and then it kind of delves more into Rebooted's world and his lore and the creepypastas in it. Um, the humans do play an important part. That's why they're involved so heavily in the beginning. But later on, later on the story goes into more of like Rebooted and his story and like who he is because he is the main target for the antagonists in part 2 of the mansion. So that's why he kind of becomes more important and becomes like one of the main characters. So at first in the mansion, Rebooted is not a main character. He becomes a main character. It's crazy. No, yeah, because the main characters are the humans at the beginning, and then after during part 2, Rebooted becomes a main character. So it's cool. I have this whole thing. We only have a few minutes till I start saying the story. Oh my god, I could go hours and hours about fucking the mansion. I'm so excited to share that for you guys. So yes, I do plan on writing more for Rebooted. I also plan on making like little mini stories or something. Got me ice cream and soda. Hell yeah! Mission failed. We won't get a buff honey the cat. Buff honey the cat. I'll fucking do it. How long was he haunting Tom again? 12 years, roughly, I believe. Uh, it was all the way from 2011 to 2021. So I think it's around roughly between 10 to 12 years that he haunted Tom. It took him a while to build his strength, but it was because Tom wasn't so willing to give up that he was able to practically leech off of Tom for years. So Tom had a steady mental decline, and it was because of Rebooted. It caused a lot of shit for Tom in his life, so it's kind of sad. Story time, and I read this. I'm so excited. No, yeah, I'm excited to read it for you guys. Does he have a disdain for OGEXE or whatever his feelings towards Xenophanes? Again, curiosity. He actually doesn't know that there's a quote unquote OGEXE. He doesn't know that. In his world, he thinks because Void Mother blocked off his world and that's why he's unaccessible. He believes he is the only EXE. So when he finds out that there's more, he literally has like an existential crisis and he's like, I'm not the only one. It's really funny. He has like this whole thing and like his best friend's like, dude, it's okay, bro. And he's like, no, I'm not the only one. uh, how would Rebooted feel if he was invited to a circus? He wouldn't mind at all, actually. I think he would actually have a lot of fun. He probably wouldn't be supportive if there were animal acts in it because I personally am very heavily against animal acts in circuses. So would he. Yeah, because projection. Sparkles. I honestly want to draw Rebooted interacting with Valley because he's also the more curious type. Also, I feel like it'd be really interesting. Go ahead. Everything interaction wise is fanon for now, but if you do want to draw it, go right ahead. What would he do in People Playground? I politely do not know what that is, so I'm not going to be able to answer that. Base cat person rebooted. Need to read up on Ice Spice. What is your favorite Sonic.exe game? Call me stupid, but OG. The OG game is amazing. If bro had a job, what would they do? I don't know. Probably a logger or something because he's just so built. Are y'all doing a Q&A? If so, what do you guys think of creepypasta? Abandoned by Disney is actually one of my favorite creepypastas, and the mascot suit is an actual character in the mansion. He shows up in like the background. He actually, I think he has speaking lines at one point where like he actually says something. I fucking love Abandoned by Disney. The little suit is like a character. How would what do you guys think? But yeah, since they're asking in the thread, you guys say in there what you guys think the creepypastas would look like before you see them in the mansion, because I'm curious. I love Abandoned by Disney. Okay, I'm gonna answer a few more questions and then we're good to go. Can you describe the mansion? Can you describe the mansion and how does it look like? Also, does Rebooted live in a room? And if so, what does it look like? Rebooted lives in his own secluded room on like the loft area that looks over the living room. I'm either gonna move it from the loft area or I'm gonna move it to the third floor, which is where Slenderman's office is. I'm still debating. I might move it to the third floor because he's kind of an important character in terms of like the mansion and how it works. Because he protects the mansion. So in the mansion, the creepypastas call him their god. That's why he's considered a god in that world, is because the creepypastas call him that. They call him their god. But it's not even in a sense where it's like, oh, they worship him, they're religious or anything. No, they just genuinely call him their god because he's more powerful than the rest of them. The only ones who are more powerful than Rebooted in his world are Slenderman and Zalgo combined. By themselves, they're not stronger than Rebooted, but Rebooted doesn't use his full abilities. He just uses it to protect the mansion and all the creepypastas. Because Rebooted's a family man like that. The mansion is fucking huge. I would not be able to explain it with enough time to spare, but it is fucking huge. It's a big fucking house. Do you like Friday Night Funkin'? I do. Can Rebooted do a backflip? Yes, he can. Would Tom have possibly been able to beat Rebooted before he gathered his strength? No. No. If Rebooted had been able to get out of the disc to kill Tom, Tom would not have been able to fight him physically. However, if Tom was smart enough and like broke the disc in half, he probably could have gotten rid of Rebooted. I'm just saying. I mean, Rebooted probably could have uploaded himself to a PC, you know, but let's be real here. If Tom just like snapped in the disc, it would have been like no more Rebooted. But he didn't think about that till like the last fucking moment because Tom's stupid. Doodling Rebooted. I love him. Look at him. Last question for me, because if I don't stop, I'll continue non-stop. But if he had a chance to better himself and change his path of destruction, would he do so? Rebooted originally wanted to be a hero. He didn't want to be a villain. He wanted to be a good guy. That's why he looks like Sonic. He wanted to be Sonic. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to have all of his friends. He wanted to go on crazy adventures and fight the villain and save the day. But Zalgo fucked it up for him. Void Mother honestly would have been extremely supportive because although she's like a being of all evil, she supports her Void children basically, and she has like millions of them. But there are certain ones that stand out to her that she finds more important, quote unquote. And Rebooted is one of them. So she would have been absolutely supportive if he wanted to be a good Void being. Like, she would have not cared. She would have been like, yeah, go right ahead. I love you. I'll support you. But Zalgo was like, no, fuck you. You're going to be a weapon. So Zalgo's a piece of shit. We all hate Zalgo in this household. I came in here because everybody else is okay. Okay, I'm gonna answer a few more and then I'll sorry guys. Question about Rebooted. Is he inspired by any creepypastas in his universe? He is only inspired by the OG Sonic.exe. He is not stemmed from any other creepypastas. Every creepypasta in his world is unique, looks different from their originals because they're my designs of them, and they also all have different stories. Not all of them are different. Like, for example, Pinkamena and Little Miss Rarity still have the same stories. But like Jeff the Killer has a different story in this world. Jane the Killer also has a different story. Slender also has a different story as well. Like, they all kind of have different stories. They all have differences that separate them from the originals, and that's how you're able to tell them apart from the originals, because you can tell them from which ones are the quote-unquote original creepypastas and then which ones are rebooted creepypastas. You know what I mean? They're all different in their own way that makes them unique. Would Rebooted wear this? Abso-fucking-lutely! He would still wear a suit. Okay. If Rebooted was a gamer, what type of genre games would be his favorite? I have answered this question, and it's gonna make everyone flip their shit. He likes farming games, guys. He likes Minecraft, Harvest Moon, Terraria, Stardew Valley. He likes farming games, guys. He's a dork. I love him. He's so stupid. He also likes games like Tetris and Bejeweled. He likes just very calm, relaxing games. He also really likes games like Skyrim, Elden Ring. He would more than likely like Cuphead a lot too. He likes very kind of sit down games, but also kind of challenging games as well. It's like a healthy mix. Uh, I fucking yeah, I fucking love Rebooted. God. All right, guys. It is 10:05. It is 10:05. You guys ready? You guys ready? I want to hear everyone. I want to see everyone screaming in the thread. You guys ready to hear the story? Who's excited? I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to tell you guys. If I cut out at any point, I apologize. I am sitting outside. It's more than likely because of my headphones moving, so it ain't much, but it's honest work. Yes, he would like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Dr. Robotnik Mean Bean Machine is like my favorite fucking game from that era ever. Oh my god. Alright, guys. Let me pull up the story. You guys ready? Sonic.exe Rebooted. Edited by Miss Lamb and Taylor Owens. Author note: the variation of Sonic.exe in this story is my property to claim. I simply made somewhat of an end to the original story, it taking place years later. The main claims I have to this story are the rewriting, redesign for Sonic.exe himself, the story, the artwork and animations I've done for the story's release that are not fan art. All fan art and work belongs to their artists, and the characters mentioned who are not Tom and Kyle from the original story, such as Lisa. If you are new to this creepypasta, I suggest reading the original story written by JC, so that you may have better context to the characters and past events mentioned in this epilogue of sorts. I'm a Sonic.exe fan with too much time on their hands, who was also devastated by the developed truth behind JC to see that EXE had been linked to him. And I wanted to see if I could create something, quote, better, in a sense. Seeing the rewrites of Jeff the Killer from separate authors inspired me to believe that I could make something horrific from an original pasta too. I'm not original enough, but I could be. This story has been in the process from 2018 to its release. I had to take breaks on and off to make sure the story came out as some of the best work I could produce. In my opinion, Sonic.exe as a creepypasta, and not a troll pasta as he has been termed to, deserves more. The character has perfect horror potential, and just needed someone to tap into its true nature. Well, I intend to be that individual. However, I give my full respect to the current owner and creator of Sonic.exe, and hope that if they someday read this, they will love this story as much as I do. I hope you, as the reader, enjoy the story. Sincerely, Kenny. Reader discretion is advised. In this recording, I am going to have moments where I will be vocally censoring myself. For those of you reading along, you will see the moments I censor, but for those just simply listening, you will not hear the context, because that is going to be my personal preference in order to have proper censorship to some of the more intense scenes. I would also like to apologize that my voice acting is not going to be the best, especially in terms of Rebooted himself. I may be the current voice actor, but my voice is not that deep. So it might sound a little goofy in the space, and I apologize for everyone. Oh yeah, real quick, I'm gonna send a link to the story to a good friend of mine who would link. Give me just a moment, guys. I see people in the document. You guys can see me in there. Hi, guys. Yeah, let me send it to my good friend here. There you go. All right. Ready for round two, Tom? Eyes filled with fear were illuminated by the stark words on the screen. Irises seeming to shiver with the emotion laying on the young man's visage. The images of those horrific deaths play over and over in his mind as he tried to focus his thoughts, yet they continued to race, almost seeming endless. Shoving himself back from the desk, he stood sharp, his legs threatening to cave underneath him as they trembled. It's just a nightmare, he thought. Just a sick, twisted nightmare, that's it. Moving his hand to push the PC's power off, he watched helplessly as his computer crashed before him, and panic rose within his chest when smoke plumed from the tower itself. Desperately, he rushed to pull it from the wall plug-in, and the disk shot out past him, slamming against the foot of his bed. Tom wrenched the tower away from the wall and walked to his window, opening it and throwing the device outside. He watched it fall from his second-story window and hit the grass in his yard below with an alarming shatter of metal. Calling down below was a woman's voice, his mother, asking what was wrong. "Nothing!" he shouted, slamming his window shut and rushing downstairs, stepping past the disc that now lay on his bedroom floor, with the words scribbled on it in thick Sharpie. Sonic.exe. Run. That was the only word pounding in his mind. It screamed to him as his legs kicked themselves to continue the sprint, watching as the trees and scenery passed by, the sickening red hue causing his vision to blur as he sped past the hideous, disfigured creatures laying in the grass around him. However, his trail had already been charted out. When he felt the presence behind grow closer, he took a sharp right and hooked his arm on a tree, flinging himself to spin in a dodge in order to avoid the entity behind before he broke into a sprint again. Awful laughter rang out from behind him, the vocals ringing in his ears. This game was already well known to him, to Tom. Although it's been years since he played it, the memory still ran fresh in his head, like a film he'd watched 1,000 times. He knew every line, he knew every move, yet he was never prepared. Gasping for air as he ran, Tom flung himself past a barricade that the demon had created, swerving past the carcasses littering the path to avoid tripping. However, he didn't account for the fallen palm tree leaves to cause a fatal mistake, and the man tumbled forward as he lost his footing. Tom's heart pounded in his chest after his fall, soon rolling onto his back, looking up at the sickening red skies. Those skies painted his nightmares, always signaling him of the danger he would soon experience. It was instinct now to feel unsafe when the sky looks a little too red. With his chest heaving and his thoughts distracted, he didn't see the hand that reached for his leg, yanking him down and dragging him harshly towards the crimson water that encased the edges of a long, grassy stretch of land he had been chased on many times before. Tom screamed out desperately before he was plunged into the water below, the thick, copper-tasting liquid filling his lungs as his vision grew dark. The last image that he could see was a pair of glowing red irises piercing through the waves engulfing him. Years this had been happening. Each night, the dreams are almost the same. The same routine, the repeated chase, the continuous fear that would engulf his mind. Tom sickened, to the point where, when he had awakened in a cold sweat from this recent nightmare, he rushed himself to the bathroom and vomited. the fluid sputtering past his lips with his accompanied gags. It seemed to be only yesterday the disc was sent to him, played, and his entire life changed. To think that a game could do this much damage. It's truly shocking what these nightmares and visions could do to a man. If one doesn't keep their wit, well. As he stumbled from the bathroom, it began once again, the routine. Almost as if he were an NPC, Tom washed the vomit remnants from his face and went downstairs into the kitchen. He went straight for his cupboard to start a morning brew of coffee. The entire system of how he started his days and ended his nights itself was machine-like. Now, concerning the demon that stayed as a constant thought in the back of his mind, one would assume that seeing this man each day, repeating the same thing, would be boring to watch for nearly 13 years. This was not the case for Tom, for in the shadows and the hidden corners of his vision, he could feel the demon's eyes still boring into him like a predator's gaze. Sometimes he imagined it grinning with delight, as though it took pleasure in their nightly game of cat and mouse. No matter what was done, the feeling was still there. Tom repulsed the smell of coffee this morning, however, his stomach still churning from his stressed awakening. Exhaling, Tom stepped away from the fresh brew and over to the couch in his living room, where he could watch the world outside from his window. People bustled about in the streets, whether it was the neighbors doing their chores or kids riding around on their bikes, he observed. To Tom, this was far more relaxing and a better time-consuming activity than joining in the morning bustle himself. A thought dashed across his mind. When was the last time I'd been outside longer than for just groceries or supplies? The case was, whenever Tom left the house, it felt as if the demon grew angry and tried to push him back through his front door. Tom never knew whatever the reason was, but it was almost as if the house was where the demon had the most strength, since he was less active outside anyhow, much like the man himself. A scrunched-up expression grew on Tom's visage as his stomach churned again, causing him to retreat to the bathroom and dry heave, saliva pooling around his tongue and drooling down into the toilet bowl, his straggling brown hair dangling in his face. Fuck this, Tom groaned, reaching for toilet paper to wipe the drool from his chin and beard, then another sheet for the sweat on his forehead. Again he washed his face, and figured to stop the vomiting, he needed to put something on his stomach. Tom exhaled while stepping into the kitchen, grabbing a bowl, cereal, and milk. Pouring the cereal first, then the milk, he stabbed his spoon between the flakes, lifting the bowl to sit just below his chin. He scooped a spoonful, brought it to his mouth, and pulled back the sweet cornflakes with a satisfied groan. The man had been so focused on eating that he completely jumped and dropped the bowl when unfathomable happened. The demon finally spoke again, after years of silence. Again, warning, my voice is not going to sound the best. I'm a little high-pitched, and Rebooted has a very deep voice, so forgive me. Are you getting tired of me yet, Tom? Or are you having fun like I am? Tom was too focused on the newly acquired question to pay any mind to the bowl and wasted meal that had just crashed onto the floor below. After not hearing his voice for so long, the instance shocked him. Tom's limbs began to shake with fear, his eyes darting around to see the demon who had spoken, with no success. Though the demon's voice changed immensely compared to his memory, which was somewhat of an understatement, it still managed to send a chill through his core. A shiver trickled down Tom's spine, and his throat to clench shut from dryness, preventing his vocal cords from working. With this, responding loudly for the moment was not a viable option. It got quiet shortly after, to which Tom used the moment to compose himself. Now noticing the milk pooling under him on the tile, he rushed to grab a towel to clean it up, trashing the soiled food and mopping the rest of the liquid up, sweeping the glass carefully off of the tile to follow. A sting in his foot and red, gooping blood made Tom aware that he had been cut by the bull's shards, but he would dress it properly when he was done cleaning the mess he had made. As he finished cleaning and went back to the bathroom once more, his mind pounded with one dark yet simple question. Would he speak again? What Tom had speculated soon came true. Sure enough, the demon began to talk more. But it started with small, open-ended questions, bursts of audible thinking, and thoughts that involved Tom throughout the day. Then it grew into almost full monologues, warnings of his forthcoming, threats against his life, everything he knew. Sheesh. After you not talking for so long, you're suddenly very talkative. Tom spat with an annoyed tone, sitting in the living room. Now he was dressed in a full t-shirt and jeans, thinking that maybe he could go for a walk or even get some more food for the house. Silence followed what Tom said, and he gave an amused chuckle. Leaning himself forward to rest his elbows on his knees, the man fixed his gaze on the bookcase next to his TV, keeping eyes on the top shelf. What's the matter? Did I say something you didn't like? No. I was just appeased by the fact that you finally acknowledged that I was talking. Didn't your mother teach you to listen when someone addresses you? Psh, yeah, she did. But I don't need to listen to an attention-seeking leech. Suddenly, a very loud ringing filled Tom's ears, causing the man to stand and clutch the sides of his head, yelping in pain. He stumbled to the kitchen table and desperately started bashing his head against it, repeatedly screaming harshly, "Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!" with each crash of his head. Eventually, a large welt formed above his brow from the impact. Blood trickled from his nostrils, and his body collapsed onto the kitchen floor. As he allowed himself to slip from reality, he could just make out the demon's laugh echoing through the last seconds of his fading consciousness. God, I'm sorry I keep clearing my throat. I should have brought water out for me. Could you please? Pretty please? Thank you, honey. Tom must have been out for hours, as when he awoke, it was just hitting 11 p.m. on the dot. Groaning, Tom lifted himself to his knees and rubbed his temple, feeling the bump and the flaking dry blood fall between his fingers and onto the floor. The sleep was the same as it had always been, yet only darkness obscured Tom's dreams during his rest. Much to his surprise, Tom didn't see the demon this time, which was the first in years. Although thinking of this caused Tom to grow worried as he climbed the staircase back to his room, darkness obscuring his vision as he roamed. Upon entry, Tom immediately walked to his bed and sat on the edge of it, forgetting the dried blood sticking to his head, and focused more on the fact that he didn't see the demon tonight. When he had fallen unconscious and into sleep, there was nothing. He saw nothing, heard nothing, just nothing. Is this going to be a one-time event? He thought. Staring down to his palms as they lowered from his head, the man heaved a breath before laying back onto the heaps of blankets behind him. I better just get some sleep, Tom told himself as he rolled onto his side and closed his eyes to let the darkness take him once more. The blood on his head could be washed off tomorrow. Nothing to be concerned about tonight. If it gets in his eyes, just a small casualty. The next morning arrived, and again, no nightmares. For once, Tom woke up without being drenched in a cold sweat, and he felt a sense of relief in his chest. The demon had been silent before, but not to where the nightmares had ended briefly. Those vibrant red skies were nowhere to be seen, and it gave the man a sense of relief to this revelation. Stretching his arms up, the man gave a small smile and decided that with this change, he was going to switch his routine for today. Thank you, honey. Ah, thank you, Tia. I love you. What's your plan for today? Tom asked aloud, testing the silence and wearing an amused smirk as he expected that very same nothing from his sleep. A few moments of silence passed, and his smile fell as the strange, low vocals hit his ears. What would I tell? What's the fun if you know the surprise I have planned? Shit, I didn't think you would have responded, Tom thought. Hmm, a classic surprise attack, huh? It's the best method, honestly. A small chuckle followed the demon's words. Tom tittered in response, finding it a small surprise that the conversation amused him. He expected a more or less pissed off demon, not a guy cracking jokes and musing about how he wished to attack Tom utilizing the surprise. It seemed to lighten the mood almost, but more so because Tom was looking at this conversation in a somewhat positive light for once. However, realizing the emotions he felt in the conversation prompted Tom to think, Does he consider me a friend? No, no. That's how evil people get you. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I think I could play along with this demon if I kept my wits about me, just like I have for all these years. Well, I'm excited to see what you'll do this time, Tom stated while lifting his mug to take a swig from his morning coffee. The demon then went silent, and that silence filled his head. Oh, excuse me. Causing his muscles to relax immensely. Yet, oh my god, there's a moth attacking me! Okay. That silence filled his head, causing his muscles to relax immensely, yet ache from the previous tension. After waiting for a moment or two, it began to register to Tom that he wasn't going to reply. So he continued with his new routine. Instead of heading to the window, he chose to walk over to the counter where he had set his mug down to pick up his phone and check for new messages. None. Go figure, he muttered. But as he checked his email, he noticed there were a few there. 3 to be exact. Scrolling through, he checked them individually. Promotion. Huh? The last email was from another user, but a part of Tom thought it was spam, yet it wouldn't hurt to look. Upon pulling the email up on his phone, he noticed that it was from an old high school friend. They must have found his email through either his old friends or his parents, which both groups he hadn't interacted with in years. Raising an eyebrow, he read the name of who sent it, and it was a woman named Lisa. Lisa Hiltree, a former acquaintance of his and an old high school crush. On Tuesday, October 26th, 2021, 1:32 p.m., Lisa Hiltree wrote, Dear Tom, it sure has been a long time. I can't believe I found a way to contact you after so many years. I'm not sure if you remember me, but I remember you from high school, and I rarely got to talk to you near the end. I was wondering if we could, meet up sometime. I understand you may not be near me in any way. Hell, I don't even know where you live now. But hopefully you get this message. It'd be so nice to see you again and to catch up on things. I can't wait for your response. I hope to see it soon. Love, Lisa. Holy shit! Tom choked on a fresh swig of his coffee as he finished, his face flushing red. Lisa Hiltree emailed me? Tom checked the date and realized that she had sent it about 3 days ago, which caused his stomach to knot in remorse. With having to deal with the demon, Tom knew that he had been missing out on a lot in his life. So when he saw the date to which it was sent, it was like a punch to the gut. And dealing with the lingering sick feeling wasn't helping the newly found emotions. I would have replied sooner if it was a text, honestly. But I know for a fact she doesn't even have my number. So that thought was thrown almost immediately out the window. Tom lifted his thumbs to the screen to type a reply, yet his muscles stopped his arms from moving. Soon he set the phone down and began to monologue to himself, pacing in his kitchen with a hand on his head. With what's been going on for the past 12 to 13 years, how would I be able to even function? I'd probably look like a crazy person to her with my damn hallucinations and my fucked up brain. And again, if the asshole plans to kill me. Tom trailed off and picked his phone back up again, giving a small shrug as his fingers clasped the edges of his device. What do I have to lose? On Friday, October 29th, 2021, 2:08 p.m., Tom Evans wrote, I live in Oklahoma City now. I'm excited to see you too. Smile emoji. Message me when you get this. My number is blank. Can I have a drink of water, please? Excuse me. Sorry, I gotta get a drink of water, folks. I'm like recording this and I'm being so unprofessional. Okay. After sending the email, Tom set his phone down and walked into the living room, the mug now back in his hand. Did I just do something good for myself? His gut seemed to churn as he sat, the man letting out a shaking groan while he stayed seated. Tom was worried, definitely, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. After all, she's someone he knew in high school. That demon can give me a break at least and let me have this. But maybe, for now, I should probably work on my social skills, since I've effectively been off the grid for anyone who knows me since 2017. That managed to be the realization that broke the glass and Suddenly he started to wonder how his parents were doing. Though it's been years since he's heard from them. What? With their last meeting ending in him carrying a suitcase of his stuff and his parents thinking he'd lost his mind to a video game. They weren't wrong. As Tom thought to himself, a loud thump rang out and he saw his phone cross his vision and onto the carpet. Tom launched up from where he was sitting and grabbed his phone in a panic. God! Fucking... Exhaling, he made sure the phone wasn't broken before he stood up and looked around, searching from where it was thrown from. Though he knew, and he knew who had thrown it too. Shoving the phone into his pocket, Tom sat on the couch once again and grabbed his mug for another drink of coffee. Tom lifted the cup to his lips and took another gulp, but in the corner of his eye, there he was. Tom still hadn't seen his true face, besides the monstrosity on the screen so long ago. Yet as he glanced, he could swear something was different. He had to have changed in some way. He knew it. What do you want? He spat, with no response. Seriously, just let me drink my fucking coffee. Silence still followed, along with a heavy sense of urgency wavering through his veins. Jesus Christ, what the hell is this guy's issue? Grinning under his breath, Tom slammed the cup onto the coffee table, some remnants of the liquid sloshing out the sides as he stood at the face where he had seen the creature. Didn't you fucking hear me? I said just leave me alone! Tom's eyes shot wide open as he saw a shadow launch itself to him, the red glow he knew all too well suddenly blinding him, causing the man to call out in surprise as he fell back onto the carpet, groaning at the pain erupting from his backside. Shaking with crippling fear, he dragged himself back against the farthest wall of the living room and hugged his knees against his chest, burying a sob into the fabric of his pants. He's so tired of this. So tired of this thing haunting him in his home. A moment of respite is all he wanted, but he couldn't even have that. As time passed, he just sat there unmoving. Well, until he had to use the bathroom. Later on that night, Tom ignored his stomach's begging as he lay in his bed, curled up under the covers and not caring to fight the sobs. He let this go on for a short time before letting his body relax. He inhaled deeply and then let it fall past his lips, repeating this until his breathing softened and slowed to the mantra he repeated in his head as he drifted to sleep. Deep breaths, Tom. Deep breaths, Tom. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths, Tom. Birds were chirping outside the bedroom window. The rustle of their wings as they flew away caused Tom to stir awake. Sitting up in his bed, he rubbed his face and slid out from under the covers, making his way to the bathroom, only to freeze in the doorway of his room. Looking up and stepping back, his eyes glanced over the wooden threshold to see the largest claw marks he had seen. They were deeply embedded in the wood frame, and splinters were down on the floor around it. Blood slightly stained the white paint of the doorframe. Tom started rushing to the bathroom, suddenly aware of a stinging all over his body as he moved. Once he was standing before the bathroom mirror, Tom ripped off his shirt and scanned his body, and what he saw snatched the air from his lungs. Large bruises and fresh cuts ran along his shoulders, abdomen, and neck, as if a wild animal had mauled him while he slept, and yet he didn't once feel anything attacking him. Tom's breathing became rapid. He held his head to keep it from spinning and backed up until his legs hit the shower and he fell backward, curtain ripping off of the bar and draping over his body. His panicked whimpers now muffled under the vinyl. As he later recovered from a brief calming down and an early morning shower, Tom got himself dressed and went to check his phone, where he was welcomed by a new message from an unsaved number. It was Lisa. She responded to him, and glancing over the message on his notification wall caused his mind to briefly forget the chaos of this morning's awakening. Hey, it's Lisa. Thank you for sending me your number. This will make things a lot easier, huh? I can't wait to see you. I live in Muskogee. How crazy is that? Say Sherry's Diner?
It's Muskogee. Sorry.
Is it Muskogee?
It's Muskogee.
Muskogee. Wait, what the fuck? What did I say? Muskogee? Muskogee?
Muskogee.
Muskogee. Okay, because Tia's from Oklahoma. She knows, because this story takes place in Oklahoma. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, you're fine, honey. You're fine.
Just caught my phone. Wait, there's no Muskogee.
Muskogee. We're gonna ignore that.
Muskogee.
Muskogee. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. A small smile spread across Tom's face after he sent the message, setting the phone back down. He gave himself a small pat on the back. Taking control of his life was something he needed to start doing, and he wasn't going to let anyone get in the way, not even the demon. Glancing over to his desk, Tom spotted a familiar journal tucked under papers and junk mail. Upon closer inspection, he recognized it as the one he started when all of this went down. He picked it up and flipped the pages to its most recent entry, which was about 4 months ago. All of the chaos had made him forget about this damn thing. But as he reread it before flipping to an empty page, he grabbed a pen nearby, wrote down the date, and the following entry. I'm finally leaving the house to see someone. Whoa, I'm actually going to leave the house. Tom took a deep breath as he closed the journal and stepped to his dresser to finish getting clothed. He called out to the demon, knowing he could be heard. God, I need another drink of water. Ow, shit!
Okay?
What the fuck was that?
You alright?
Yeah, I just got fucking bit on my ankle. Ow. That hurt. Sorry, guys. Small little, brief thing. I got fucking bit. Ow! That fucking stung, for real. Ah! The dangers of reading outside, huh? Listen, bud. He spoke as he slipped into a semi-formal shirt. He at least didn't want to look like he lived like a slob. Who the fuck said rebooted? I'm going out today, meeting up with an old high school friend. Try not to fuck with me. Although he felt as if his voice was calling to no one, he knew that the creature had heard him. Tom then slipped into a nice pair of denim jeans, ran down the stairs to grab his shoes near the front, laced up his shoes, snagged his wallet, phone, keys, and headed out the front door, into the world, and locked the door behind him. Today was fairly quiet. A nice, soft breeze ran through his hair. Feeling it push against his body and clothing as he walked felt relieving. To feel something other than still, stagnant air gave Tom a sense of hope for the day. Maybe today will go well? This was known to him, but he hadn't driven his car in months. Just thinking about the possibility of his license being expired caused Tom to laugh with nervousness as he pulled out his wallet to take a glance at his license, which, shockingly, was still valid. Huh, that's cool then. With a gentle smile on his unshaven face, Tom walked to his run-down car and sat in the driver's seat, doing all the procedures to begin driving onto the road. The tires felt partially full of air, which even then was perfect to him, and they made the car glide smoothly as he pulled the vehicle towards the main pavement of the highway. The engine slowly revved louder while his foot gradually increased pressure on the gas, the motor whirring, the soft sound of occasional pebbles ricocheting off of the tires. All of the noise gave Tom ease. I forgot how relaxing driving could be. Saying that, he knew so many people would disagree with that, but with how stressed his life has been, it's relaxing to be in a vehicle. Tom then asked Siri to phone the way to Sherry's on the GPS. At the first stoplight, continue straight for 24 meters, it instructed, and Tom listened to each word. Traffic was slow, in all honesty, not heavy either, which was strange for a Saturday. Though, was it? It'd been too long since he'd actually been in public, so maybe some of the things he knew before aren't the same. Tom! Tom heard his name as soon as he stepped into the building, and turning to look, he saw a woman who seemed to be Lisa sitting at one of the tables while waving him down. Her features were soft at a distance, but as he grew closer, he could tell how much she had changed. No longer did she have her light brown hair, it was dyed a soft reddened color. Seeing the roots coming back gave it away. It was only down to her shoulders and wavy at the bottom. Her jawline was still soft, her features slightly rounder than most, and her skin a pale tan. She was wearing a green tank top with a white shawl hugging her arms, midsection exposed, and black jeggings with a white line down the sides. Tom was extremely glad that he wasn't the only one who looked casual as hell. Not only that, but Lisa just looked gorgeous. Tom flopped into the booth across from her, doing his best to not shake the table that her coffee mug rested upon. Oh, it's so good to see you! Lisa's eyes lit up as she spoke. Her green eyes shimmered softly behind her rectangle glasses, though Tom was reluctant to make eye contact and instead glanced occasionally to the side while she spoke. How have you been? I haven't heard much from you since. She was cut off by the waiter walking over to ask Tom if he wanted a drink. The waiter was a young, dapper-looking gentleman, looking extremely comfortable in his uniform and wearing a big smile on his face. Tom shook his head to the question, muttering, "Just a water," to give him his retreat. Tom looked at Lisa when the man left, continuing from where she left off. Since Kyle. Tom gave a slight grimace at the name. Shrinking up back against the back of his seat, he shoved his hands into his pockets, he was hoping she wouldn't bring him up. I know how close of friends you two were. Have you been well since then? As Lisa spoke to him, he noticed that she moved her head quite a bit while she talked, bobbing it gently side to side with her words, red hair bouncing. Oh. Oh no, my phone rotated. Stop it. Tom, at that moment, almost forgot just how good it was to observe people's movements. Maybe I should go people watching again sometime, he thought to himself. I've been all right. His reply was stiff, causing her concerned expression to deepen. Tom could tell by how she Tom could tell by how she looked at him that he should have said more, but he couldn't find the words. Not with that face she wore. Tell me, have you been out much? Oh, this should be easy to answer. Tom shook his head no and fiddled with his fork, the waiter coming back with his water in between the silence of their conversation. Well, maybe after this we can catch a movie? Have you seen one of those? Tom laughed lightly, her joining him and feeling relieved that he somewhat took acknowledgement to the conversation. Tom looked at her with a small smile kept on his face. Yes, I've seen a movie. I'm not a caveman. Well, from what you're telling me, you need to put down the sticks and stones and rejoin civilization. Oh, hush, Lisa. She laughed briefly at their exchange. He, too, let out a chortle in reply. This was... What the fuck is on my shoe? Oh my god, I'm being attacked by so much shit tonight. Like, leave me alone, for real. Okay, is it good? Am I good? God damn! Sorry, guys. Oh, I lost my spot. Oh no, I lost my set. Okay. She laughed brightly at their exchange. He too let out a chortle in reply. This was more fun than Tom expected it to be. Even with the awkward tension, he appreciated her being light-hearted and kind with his demeanor. Perhaps, he thought to himself, he should give the same effort. Suddenly, Tom gave a sharp inhale and glanced around in a frantic sense, causing Lisa to watch where he looked with concern. What exactly is he looking for? Her face seemed to say. Looking back to Lisa, Tom shook his head gently and took his cup in his hand, sipping the liquid softly. You want to order something to eat? You look hungry. And don't worry. She pulled out her wallet and slipped a 10 and 20 onto the table. I'm paying. Tom looked at the crisp bills on the surface in front of him and immediately shook his head, smiling meekly. No, I can't make you pay for me. She lifted her hand and smiled. Please. I insist, okay? Hearing the mentioning of ordering brought the waiter back to them, which, after her staring at Tom to order with an amused smile, he did so. Oh, excuse me. I keep burping. I'm sorry, guys. Tom had ordered a nice egg and steak breakfast, while she simply asked for a breakfast burger with fries. The waiter's pencil scribbled down the items before he reached for their menus. The pair handed them over quickly. So, Tom started off weakly, Lisa tilting her head with a curious expression, her glasses slightly giving a soft glint from the overhead cafe lights. Watching how people move was fascinating to Tom. Not only could one read how most are with their actions, but one could also see how their body works. The small things they do, the obvious things they do. Tom found himself smiling at how she acted, his eyes showing warmth. How have you been, Lisa? I haven't heard much from you since we got here. He found himself growing happy by asking her that question, which her face lit up to the question, and she fixed her glasses. Well, I'm a registered nurse now. I've already traveled to quite a few places. Goodness, the incidents I've seen are saddening. I'm not going to go into detail. It's too upsetting. You understand that, right? A nervous laugh drifted from her lips. Tom nervously rubbed the back of his head. Ah, true, he replied solemnly. Lisa continued to speak, yet her voice drowned out as his focus drifted onto something, or rather, nothing. Him. There he was, his shadow hiding near the cooks of the diner. Tom's hands began to grip and tighten into fists, clenching a fork in his right palm. Couldn't he leave me alone for one fucking day? Just one? Tom's eyes shifted to see Lisa looking at him in concern. Then his eyes looked back and he was gone. Are you okay? Lisa's face was no longer blurry to Tom's vision, and before he could muster any words, their food arrived. Tom quietly thanked the waiter and softened his grip on the fork, stabbing it into his food. Hey, Tom, you still don't have that issue, do you? From what Kyle sent you? Lisa hadn't touched her food but kept her eyes on the man ahead of her. Tom's breathing hit the question. Dude did not want to say anything. He remained silent for a moment, thinking of how to respond. No, just spaced out. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you or anything. Tom looked at her briefly, her eyes and face showing concern. The way she looked at him resembled how most would look at an injured puppy or a hurt relative, which caused Tom's skin to feel rough as he looked away from her gaze, frowning. Lisa looked down towards her food, then to him once more. Oh, it's okay. I didn't think so. I was just wondering if you were okay. A meek smile spread on her lips, and the man gave a soft to her reply, causing the conversation to grow quiet as they silently began to eat. Soft crunching and idle chatter from the other patrons filled their silence until he finally spoke up. I'm sorry for being so short with you. I'm just unsure of how to act. I haven't seen anyone in months, honestly. Tom's hand fell to his side and away from the utensil he had been using. Seeing Lisa look at him with that same concerned look, it was quickly replaced with a smile of understanding. That's okay, Tom. You're not hurting anyone. I was just worried, is all. Tom lifted his head as she started, watching her speak, her words filling his ears. Ah, okay. A smile found its way onto Tom's face before he kept eating, pointing out how well cooked the steak was pointing out how well cooked the steak and eggs were. Lisa also pointed out how well her burger was made, which these comments resulted in the pair leaving a nice $15 tip on the table. Man, a $15 tip would be so nice. Coming from like a server perspective, God, $15. As they began heading out, they started at the same pace, Lisa adjusting her simple overcoat as she turned to Tom. Want to catch that movie now? I saw that a new sci-fi film is playing tonight, and I've been itching to see if it's bad or not. God, I keep burping, I'm sorry. Her giggle was light and happy, causing the man to smile at her again. Tom chuckled as he thought to himself, if I honestly keep smiling like this, I think the muscles in my face will get sore from lack of use. Nodding, he shrugged and kicked a small rock near his foot. Oh, sure. Let me guess. You're paying again? He probably seemed guilty to her, but she simply smiled at Tom again. Ugh, that smile. Of course, and you can pay me back later. Lisa grew serious for a moment, and Tom nodded in acknowledgement, but she just slugged his shoulder playfully. Tom, I'm kidding. Oh. She laughed and began to walk to her car. Tom turned to his car and scooted inside, figuring that he could just follow her to the movies. Lisa pulled out of the parking lot and drove down the street, with Tom following close behind. Waste of money, is what Lisa stated, the two having walked out halfway through the movie. As they got into their respective cars, Tom felt the sickening feeling from the day before growing in his stomach, and he chucked a bit out the window away from Lisa, vomit spilling onto the pavement next to his car. Lisa, unaware of what happened, then drove behind Tom, heading to his place afterwards. After they got to his house, she walked out with Tom, the two of them exchanging comments on the fun they'd had before giving one another a hug before she departed, leaving Tom standing on his porch. As he watched her drive away, he began to dread going back inside. However, he couldn't stay outside all night. Tom then unlocked the door and went inside. I gotta get ready for Rebooted's voice again. Hey, prick. I'm back. I saw you at the cafe. Don't think you're fucking sneaky. Tom blurted as he slammed the door, kicked his shoes off, and stomped upstairs. Suddenly, the demon piped up. His deep voice caused Tom's heart to skip a beat briefly, and his stomach to twist into knots. I wasn't trying to be sneaky. I hope you had a fun little date, but don't think you'll be cheating on me. You say that as if we're in a relationship, asshole. Who'd even want to be with you? Guess I could say the same. Although I must say that a young woman who is as attractive as she is, wanting to rekindle something with you of all creatures on this planet is so laughable at best. Hell, she'd have a better chance of having something more fun, exciting, and alluring with that homeless man we saw on the drive there rather than with you. Tom huffed angrily and slammed his bedroom door open, stepping to his desk and beginning to write down the events of the day. After he finished, Tom pushed himself away from the desk and moved to his bed, flopping onto it with a huge groan, his voice muffled by the blankets. All right, so I'm gonna take a brief moment to like check the thread, see how everyone's doing. Um, I'm gonna use this as like everyone's chance to like give feedback, tell me how you guys are doing, cause I hope I'm doing okay. I'm trying my best. My rebooted voice is crap. I know. I'm sorry. Oh crap! I just smudged my glasses. Oh, lovely.
Your rebooted voice is really good.
I'm trying my best on my rebooted voice, so I hope everything sounds okay.
You don't give yourself enough credit.
But yeah, I just want to ask how everyone's doing. I'm checking the twit threads, or I'm checking the Twitter thread and everything real quick. Oh my god, there's so many replies. Holy crap! I'm like trying to find the new ones. Do 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 do. I'm doing. Oh, and the voice acting's great. I'm trying. I'm so. I'm trying. Thank you. Melted a puddle. The little funny doodle rebooted. Yay! Look at him. He's so cute. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god, that means so much coming from you. You have no idea. It melted a puddle. Ah. Oh my god. That means so much coming from you. Holy shit. All right. Kicks my little feetsies. Okay, is everyone doing all right? All right. The next morning, he awoke to a nice breeze coming in through his window, birds chirping, and some new bruises on his arm. They were extremely dark, looking as if they had been hit repeatedly. Grimacing from the aches he received from the bruising, he stood up and brushed it off, not even wanting to know what had to have happened to his body to have acquired those nasty-looking marks. As he composed himself to fully awaken, Tom shifted his attention to his phone on the nightstand. Grabbing it, he then checked to see new messages from Lisa, and immediately any thoughts of his bruising or pain seemed to melt away. I had fun. We should go out again today. Maybe head to the park? Yeah, sounds good. I'll wait outside for you. Not gonna drive this time, lol. Saves gas. I can pay you back later. Alrighty. See you in about 20 minutes. God, it'll be so nice to see her again. Tom stated out loud, getting himself dressed up for the day and quickly getting himself up for the day and quickly getting dressed into a clean pair of jeans and a long-sleeved shirt. Bless you, honey. Tom brushed his hair this time, cleaned his face, and sprayed on some cologne. Compared to yesterday, it was a full upgrade in his eyes. And he seemed to stare in the mirror for a few minutes, proud of how he mustered this much motivation to look so nice. After snagging some toast and eggs that he quickly prepared, Tom was slipping on his shoes when he heard a honk outside, which was most likely her catching his attention. He went around the house and shut off everything, set his morning dishes in the sink, and stepped outside, seeing her wave cheerfully with her arm outside the driver's side window. Hey! She called out as Tom walked up. You look nice today! Lisa smiled as he sat in the passenger seat, and he thanked her. Today she was in a blue floral sundress, matching well with her hair. making her look beautiful. Tom stared dumbfounded for a moment, but quickly strapped on his seatbelt and cleared his throat. You, you look nice too. I like your dress. As he pointed to her clothing, Lisa watched his movements before she switched the gear into drive. Well, thank you. I felt pretty today and I wanted to wear this dress. Isn't it a nice day for a walk? The car pulled out onto the highway and drove into town. They were headed towards the main city park, where Lisa had reason to Tom, quote, was riddled with ducks and geese this time of year. The car soon pulled into the parking lot of the park, the two of them stepping out to feel a nice breeze wafting around them, drifting the calming smell of trees to Tom's senses. Lisa locked her car and then stepped up next to him, smiling again with that seemingly always jovial expression she had worn on her face the entire drive. You seriously don't get out much. You look so pale. She pointed out to Tom with no hesitation. And your eyes are baggy, too. Uh, uh, say, did you sleep okay last night? To her question, he gave a meek nod and slightly shuffled his feet as they walked. Yeah, I tried to get as much as I could, though. Tom paused and sighed. I tend to not sleep well. Rubbing his neck, Lisa gave Tom another concern-filled expression, a nod adding to it. Lisa gave a gentle sigh and looked ahead as they started down a trail in the park. Ah, do you have insomnia? Lisa fiddled with her hair and then pushed it behind her ear. Tom still looked ahead and nodded once more. I guess you could say that. A chuckle followed his wording. She too suppressed a snicker. They kept walking through the gentle aura given by the surrounding grove of trees, hearing people talking in the distance, and sure enough, ducks. There were a plethora of ducks near the park pond edge, and Tom grew nervous as they approached. Lisa was suddenly laughing at how Tom was reacting. Have you seen ducks before? She questioned, and immediately he turned to her, staring at her amused expression. Lisa's eyes perfectly explained what she was thinking in her head, and it quickly prompted Tom to point his finger in her face as she giggled. Yes, I have seen ducks before. Lisa's giggle then turned into an adorable, light-hearted laugh, and she kept walking with Tom. The walk was peaceful and surreal almost. A nice lady gave them proper bird food on their walk, and they were able to hand it to the ducks and geese by the pond. However, some chased Lisa almost immediately upon approach, and she proceeded to call out in gleeful surprise, running past Tom and to a table for cover as the man laughed his ass off. Tom and another guy soon came to shoo them away from her, the woman smiling the entire time with a laugh. On their way back towards the car, she asked Tom if he was hungry. Quickly, he stated he was fine, but as they approached a nearby snow cone stand, his stomach got the better of him, and he veered them over to the stand, Lisa wearing a, quote, I knew it expression. She then got a sweet raspberry cone, and Tom grabbed a blue raspberry cone, which turned his tongue blue with but a few licks. Today was for sure better than yesterday in Tom's eyes. He hadn't seen the demon anywhere. All day, he expected him to show up while he was out and about, yet Tom never saw him or felt his presence anywhere. This seemed to put him somewhat on edge as he and Lisa approached the car, the woman setting her now empty snow cone in the trash bin near the lot, and Tom doing the same. Lisa noticed his expression and mood change, but felt that it would be touchy to ask what was wrong, so she let him be as they climbed into their respective seats. Another day had passed for Tom, another day without nightmares, without a shadow following him everywhere. Man, I could get used to this, Tom thought to himself, shifting his attention to the passing scenery on the ride home. As they drove, Lisa played her favorite music in the car, which wasn't too bad for him. Sure, they were country songs, but it made Tom tap his foot and hum along once he learned the beat of each song that played. Lisa was very enthusiastic when they spoke to one another, telling Tom about her home life, how her family has fared, and she even asked Tom the usuals and conversations that he dismissed. How are your parents? Are you staying healthy? Where do you work? He was definitely not answering the last one, he thought. As they pulled up to the sidewalk on the side, Lisa turned the engine off and stepped out. Tom swiftly followed her to his front door and stood on his porch, giving him a soft smile. She then asked a question that made Tom's heart skip. Are you gonna invite me inside? She tilted her head and he gulped, pulling at the neck of his shirt lightly. It's kind of a mess. Tom glanced towards his feet and she waved her hand up and down. Nonsense! Even if it is dirty, we can clean it. I'll help you. That's not fair to you, Tom blurted out. It's my pigsty. I wouldn't expect you to help me clean. Lisa blinked at his response, but then she giggled. Tom, if I didn't want to help, I wouldn't have offered. Besides, my house is so well kept, I could use a challenge. With her giving a superhero pose, he tittered and claimed defeat as he reached to unlock the door and pushed it open after hearing the lock click. What are you thinking? Inviting her inside? What if he attacks you while she's here? Lisa stepped in after Tom opened the door, looking around. She then respectfully set her purse on the counter in the kitchen after the removal of her shoes, and she gave another full look around, this time observing things better. Other than a few stray blankets, dishes, and a messed up sofa, it's not nice, or? Tom soon felt her eyes on his figure as he stepped into the kitchen to switch on the light. Then he walked back to her. You really don't need to. Shh. I already said I was going to. Besides, she spoke gently as she stepped up to Tom, resting her hand onto his shoulder with a thoughtful look crossing her visage, her eyes twinkling with care. I can tell that you're going through something, emotionally, and I just want you to know that even if you may be a guy, she lifted her hands to air quote the last word. I don't believe in that men should be stronger and independent crap. You're allowed to ask for help. And yeah, it can be hard, but I'm here. And I want to help you, if you'll let me. She trailed off and wove her hand into Tom's, their eyes locking into each other's gazes. I want to be that helping hand. Starting with your house, even though it's not as bad as you claim it to be. Lisa then stepped back and held onto the gaze for a beat or two before she turned away, and Tom grew quiet as she began to organize, starting with the living room while he went into the kitchen to start the dishes. For the rest of the night, they simply cleaned, reorganized, and even rearranged some items in his house that caused it to look like something out of a magazine when they were done. Seeing this made Tom smile greatly, and he gave Lisa a huge hug as thanks. For once, he felt like his life was normal, not plagued with nightmares or fear every day, but actual freedom and the chance to be himself in his own home. As Lisa prepared to leave, Tom walked her out the front and stood outside with her for a bit, his eyes staring into hers for a brief moment as they conversed. Thank you, Lisa. You've been such a great help to me in so many ways. As she gazed back at him, a large smile spread onto her face, and she gave Tom another big whoa, my phone's acting funny. Okay. And she gave Tom another big hug, this time leaving a peck to his cheek as she backed away. That's what I'm here for, big guy. Patting his shoulder, Lisa turned away and started to her car. Tom waited until she pulled away before heading back inside. Huh. Am I making progress with Lisa? Tom hadn't even thought about the nightmares until he crawled into bed that night, though he honestly didn't care. Tom wanted to see Lisa again, and no demon was going to get in his way. Do you hear that, guys?
Fuck, what?
That's a bird.
That's a bird?
That's a bird screeching. Yeah, do you guys hear that? It's it. Yeah, no, stop. No. It sounds like an owl. At first, I thought it was like Kaylee making noises. I thought it was Kaylee.
You know, there's an old saying Jennifer used to tell me
What?
about the Thunderbird.
Shut up. Okay. Okay, guys. Hey. We're getting into the good shit now, guys. Guys, all of that we just finished reading was build up. We're getting into the good shit now, guys. The next morning had come, and Tom soon arose from his slumber as the sunshine poured in through his parted drapes. The atmosphere of the room felt incredibly heavy, choking out the little air that Tom held in his lungs as he woke, shifting himself to move off of his bed. The man seemed to have no cares in the world as of this morning. Not only had he slept great due to the newfound zest for life that he had gained, but the tingle from the peck he had received the night before still lingered, giving the man a warm, fuzzy feeling in his breast. Another day to experience life, possibly for the better, seemed to excite him. As he shuffled to the bathroom to relieve himself of a full bladder, he had a hum in his throat, whistling occasionally with the hums and beating his hands against various surfaces. There was absolutely no care in the world for this man. It seemed as if all thoughts concerning the demon had vanished, and all he had left in his mind was plans for today. And Lisa, of course. Standing at the toilet, he began to relieve himself when a peculiar thought had struck him. What if the demon could be gotten rid of? Like, disappear? If there could be some sort of seance or ritual to rid the creature from his mind, body, and home, well, he would take anything that he could even have a he could take he would take anything he could do to even have a fleeting glimpse at a life without the creature occupying his every day. Sure, he knew the name of it. Definitely, he never forgot it. It never struck him of importance at all until he thought longer on how he could possibly remove him. But then, as he was cleansing himself and shifted towards the sink to wash his hands, his mind seemed to strike revelation as he dried them. The, the disc. The disc. Repeating that to himself, Tom stumbled back to his room and ushered himself towards his dresser. He had slept nude the night before to try and let his wounds breathe, but he quickly shoved on a pair of boxers and a tee before scrambling to his, quote, guest room that held his computer, and into the closet of said room. How could he be so blind? No, idiotic to have forgotten the core message of his friend's letter. The one thing that Kyle had told him to do, yet he had bypassed? Removing box after box after box, he found nothing, which then prompted him to push on and out into his garage. Through a door connected to the house, he shoved it open and proceeded to some boxes stacked in a corner near an unused workbench, and began to sift through those boxes as well. Inside, however, Tom found nothing but old childhood scraps and a few other collectibles, such as baseball cards, newspaper clippings of when he was a teen, and other various memories that he did not need to trifle with at the moment. For a second, Tom had stood there in his boxers with bewilderment on his face, as a sense of exasperation was clinging on to him. But then he blinked and turned to a noisy clutter emitting from inside. Huh? What the hell was that? Stepping back into the house and shutting the door behind, Tom stepped into the living room ahead to see that a box from on the top shelf of his bookcase had been knocked down, and inside were various bills that he had paid in the past, mostly things he kept for remembrance of his address and such. Yet laying near the cluttered pile of papers that now lay on the carpet was an envelope that, written in scratchy and disheveled writing, wrote, "To Tom, from Kyle," with his address and various other scribbles. There you are. He started in a whisper as he bent down, gripping the slip between his fingers and lifting it to his eyes, standing with eyes glued onto the envelope. Tom then tossed it onto the coffee table and bent down to pick up the other papers that had fallen, setting them back into the unlidded box, and that box back onto the shelf. Thinking briefly to himself, Tom stared at the bookcase before he turned back to the envelope and pulled out the letter, reading the phrase he needed to see most. Destroy the disc, Tom. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him. Don't play the game. It's what he wants. Well, a little too late for the don't play it warning to be reread. Tom stated blatantly to himself, setting the letter back inside, and the letter back into its place within the box from before. After reading that excerpt from the letter he had received many years ago, he knew this was the chance, which thus prompted the man to seemingly rush back upstairs and into his computer room, opening the disk drive and removing the said disk from containment. As he stood erect and flipped it to look at the scratchy Sharpie writing, Sonic.exe, on the front, a chill ran up his spine as he relived the game, seeing the characters tortured, that demon's hellish grin emitting from the screen as the game came to a finale. Bile rose in his throat as he relived it, but it was quickly ushered back down his throat, Tom soon recollecting his sense to step back into his room, the disc in hand. Now he had a task ahead of him. Destroy that disc. Tom moved himself to his desk, eyes falling onto his journal that he begun writing in only a few days ago. Sloppily, if he was truthful. Not many dates were written, and it was all jumbled. The thought of him having a neat journal made him laugh. It was almost as if he was keeping a diary like a 12-year-old girl. Chuckling, he set the disk down onto the desk and moved his hand to the journal, pausing briefly as a small crimson dot caught his eye. It was simply there on his table, most likely dry, yet when he pressed his finger against it, the liquid spread on the surface of his fingertip. the almost warm feeling causing Tom to jerk his hand away in surprise, then look at his finger. Huh? Blood? The fuck? Why is there blood on my desk? The color was recognizable, such as the smell. Standing near his desk, it was beginning to grow stronger, and the reason as to why was unknown to him, yet it concerned the man, as it would anyone. Tom shook his head and wiped the finger onto his boxers as he turned his attention back to the journal, shifting it closer to him to flip through it, only to see that it was splattered, tainted with almost fresh blood. A grimace spread on his visage as he continued to push through to the last page he had written on. Why the hell was his journal covered in blood? More importantly, his private journal that he had hoped that the demon wouldn't touch? Wait. Demon. The demon. Tom's heart skipped a beat as he realized the demon had read the journal. It was more than likely, as a few pages had bloody fingerprints on the leaflets contained inside, and seeing them more caused the man to shake in fear, his eyes soon landing onto the most recent page, which was written on, and not in his handwriting. Cocking an eyebrow up, Tom lifted the journal closer to gain a better look at the passage written inside, knowing that it was the demon who wrote it. He was surprised somewhat at how neat it was. Even for being written with a mixture of ink and blood, the words were easy to make out, and it seemed almost robotic yet elegant in a way. Tom reread the passage roughly 5 times to just make sure he was reading correctly, to which the passage wrote,
I hope you see this when you wake up, Tom. Listen, your round 2 is coming to an end, and soon. I sincerely hope you had fun. I know for sure I did. You'll hear from me when it's time for the grand finale, but until so, I enjoyed our time together. See you soon. exe.
With his body shaking more than before, Tom gulped and set the journal down, gripping his pen and beginning to write himself, but in somewhat of a response. I did not write that. I'm pretty sure he did. The demon. Sonic.exe, whatever he's called, I don't know anymore. At this point, I was never truly scared of him. Sure, he frightened me in my nightmares and stuff, but now, I'm legitimately terrified. I have no idea what's going to happen to me now, and I honestly thought I was free. I thought I was going to be safe, but I was wrong. Fuck me. I was so wrong. At this point, I think I may start writing this down as a will of some sorts. I have nothing valuable. Whoever finds this, auction off all of my shit. I have no idea if I'm going to live much longer, but fuck. I guess I had a good life, you know? My parents think I'm crazy. Yeah, I didn't have many friends left after when I first played that fucking game. But you know what? It's fine. It's okay, because all of this, it's my fault. I played the game. I played it, and for what? I ruined my whole life because I was too goddamn stupid to destroy it, and now I'm going to destroy it. Even if I die trying. I'm going to try and tell Lisa. If anything, she'll understand. She'll listen to me. After all, someone's got to listen, right? Right? My name is Tom Evans. If anyone finds this and the disc, if I don't destroy it, then please, please destroy the disc and don't play the game. It's what he wants. Hey, Lisa, do you have anything you're doing today?
No, I wasn't feeling too good today. Menstrual problems, so my work gave me another day off. Why? Is everything okay?
I have a serious problem that I didn't tell you about, and I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you, but listen, I don't think I'm going to live much longer, and I don't know what to do.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. What do you mean you don't think you're going to live much longer? What's going on, Tom? You can talk to me.
I'm sorry, Lisa. He's going to kill me. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. The demon, he's after me, and you were right. I still have that fucking problem. He's been after me for years, but don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I'm sorry that you wasted your time. I'm coming over. Tom was now pacing in his room, fully clothed and with some actual sweatpants on now. After seeing the message of Lisa being on her way, he immediately threw his phone at the wall and began to panic, knowing that this was the exact opposite of what he wanted. Tom didn't want Lisa over here. That in turn just heavily increased the risk of her possibly getting killed.
And he couldn't have that. He couldn't get her killed because of him. He seemed to pace for what was about 15 minutes in his room before he cried out and wheezed in worry. I've already caused too much trouble, he thought aloud to himself. If she ends up getting killed over here because of that demon, that Sonic.exe, then I'm the horrible person. She doesn't deserve this. I shouldn't have told her. Stepping away from his room, Tom then flung himself to the stairs, trampling down to rush towards the front door, swinging it open only to see Lisa advancing up the sidewalk. She herself pausing as soon as she saw him. Tom had sweat running down his face, tears in his eyes, and his whole body was shaking, the man expressing almost painful fear on his face, which caused Lisa's visage to contort with worry as she ran to him. Tom, are you okay? I was so worried after those texts, and I came here as fast as I... You shouldn't be here. Tom grabbed her shoulders and started pushing her back to her car. Oh, no, Tom, hold on. What the hell is going on? Something is wrong, and you need my help. You shouldn't have come. You're putting yourself at risk, Lisa, and he might get you too. You don't understand. I can't. Lisa, Tom trailed off. Tom, that's Tom. Tom trailed off as he hiccuped a sob, gently letting Lisa go as he stepped away, hugging his body in fear, his eyes not able to meet her own. You should get out of here and let me handle this. He's my problem. And I shouldn't have got you involved. I shouldn't have not accepted to meet up. This was all my fault, Lisa, and you need to go. With a choking sob, Tom turned away from her and ushered to his front door, to which she promptly followed him in, pushing past the door as he tried to close it. No, Tom! She then shut the door and grabbed the sides of his face, following him as he crumbled to his knees, hands gripping her forearms. Lisa stared, and not only could she see, even feel, the fear that he was experiencing, but the pain on his reddened face, and the river of tears down his cheeks, caused her to pull the sobbing man into a hug, tighter than she had ever hugged anyone before, burying her face into his shoulder. Shh, she cooed gently, running her fingers through his hair. Shh. It's okay to be scared, Tom. I'm scared too, but you don't have to be alone. Pulling back slightly to look at his face, she lifted his chin, holding his now damp face cupped into her hands, with her gaze fixating onto his, showing sincerity in her eyes. You may be scared, and may not want me to be hurt, whatever the case may be. But I was the one who emailed you first. You have no idea how happy I was to have received a message back from you. I was the one who wanted to connect with you because I was unable to back in school. I wanted to see you. I wanted to get to know you because I have always wanted to. But I was too shy, and frankly, I was considered too good for you from other girls. But that's not the point. Huh? Oh, the cat scared. Hi, Skyla. The cat scared Tia. As Tom gave a sniffle and wiped his face, Lisa then wiped his eyes and kissed his forehead gently, rubbing his cheeks with her thumbs. We'll get through this together, she whispered, because that's what friends are for. Even if we don't become more or have time to, I'll always be here for you, Tom. A moment of silence seemed to linger afterwards, Tom's hiccuping sobs soon fading into whispers of pained emotion as he held onto the woman. She, too, held onto him back, closing her eyes and letting her warmth soothe him into a calmer state. When calmed, the two rose to their feet and moved to the living room, precisely the couch. Lisa then sat down with Tom and held his hands, looking at him with all of her focus attained onto him. She wanted to make sure that she got the point across of her being there for him. It was a priority to her. That he knew she was there, and Tom knew. He could tell by her behavior, the way she looked at him, even the way her soft hands gripped his own. It all gave him the sense of feeling less alone and in pain. That he knew she was there for him. and he could feel able to take a long and full breath, air filling his lungs, and he exhaled before Lisa spoke again. Now, tell me, what? Mm. She trailed off and turned away, trying to muster the correct words before turning back to him. How did this all start? What's even going on? Tom was dreading this question. How the hell am I going to even explain it? He thought. Taking a deep breath, he slowly stood up and motioned for Lisa to stay put. And walking upstairs to his room, he moved to grab two things, the journal and the disc. After acquiring the two items, he then returned downstairs and to the living room, sitting back down onto the couch and looking into Lisa's concerned gaze with his expressing exhaustion. Just read this, he said, handing her the journal. And when you're done, I'll explain everything you feel the need to ask me. After she finished reading the journal, Lisa politely set the book down onto the coffee table, cleared her throat, and then looked at Tom. This started because of Kyle, right? As she looked at him, he proceeded to nod, slowly grabbing the disc and standing up to grab the letter from its place he had set it. He had sent me this letter, he said as he gripped the paper in his hand, and the disc with it, asking me if I could destroy it for him. Walking back to her, he sat down again, handing her the letter this time for her to read. Lisa was trying her best to process all of this. Surely she knew that Tom was dealing with something that was affecting him detrimentally, but even this was quite a lot to take in. Kyle asked you to destroy that. She pointed to the disc held in Tom's hand. Then her eyes flickered to the letter once more. But you proceeded to play it, and Tom interjected. I thought he was playing a joke on me, honestly. I mean, I was a huge fan of Sonic and the games when I was younger, so I... He paused. I just thought it was a special game. Hell, even a fan-made game, but it was so horrible to experience. Fuck, it still gives me nightmares. Tom looked down as Lisa reached her arm to his shoulder, taking the disc from his hands and setting it next to the bloodstained journal, along with Kyle's letter. Hugging him once more, she leaned her face into the crook of his neck and sighed softly, feeling extremely sorry for him. Tom was naive when he was younger. She knew this from observing him in high school. But now that she was experiencing all of this with him, his mistakes that have followed him throughout his whole life, she began to sob and clutch onto him. I'm so sorry that I didn't talk to you sooner, Tom. If I was a better friend during high school. She hiccuped in a sob. I could have helped you with all of this. Lisa's face was soon lifted by Tom's hands, his tired eyes looking to hers, tears pouring down her cheeks. None of this is your fault in any way. Tom bit his lip to hold back a choking sob, his arms wrapping around the woman tightly. I'm just happy you're here now. And we can most likely work on this together. What about the end of round 2? Lisa questioned, her body leaning away to allow her head to turn back to the journal again. He said it's going to end. After all, he wrote it in your journal. Looking back at Tom again, the tired man sighed in exhaustion and shook his head. I just have to wait and see. Not much I can do, truthfully. Gulping, Lisa gave a nod and sighed as well, her eyes looking to Tom. I'll be right here for you. I just have to go and grab some overnight stuff from my house. But that won't take long at all. Would you like to come with me? A look of fear gripped Tom's face as he shook his head, almost tearing up again at just the idea of her having to be here if he possibly shows up. Not only would he feel terrible if she was hurt, but if she was killed? Tom felt bile rise in his throat once more. But he quickly swallowed it and repeated the motion of shaking his head. No, 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 I can't let you stay here. If he hurts you or kills you, I don't want that to happen. I couldn't bear to be the reason you may get hurt in any way, and this is my fight, Lisa. I can't have you here. Before he could continue, Lisa placed her hand gently onto his mouth. her watery eyes showing contempt with the idea of staying, especially now. I'm scared too, Tom. But we can do this together, as I said. Sniffing and wiping her nose, one of her hands grabbed one of his, squeezing it gently in comfort. I'll just borrow some of your clothing. With a small giggle to try and lighten the mood, the two seemingly looked at the clock in the same moment, Lisa then standing. How about we make some dinner, then tonight we destroy the disc and destroy him? Lisa then brought Tom to stand up with her, the man nodding softly in agreement, as they walked into the kitchen to prepare dinner. After all, the time they had seen on the clock was 4:53 p.m. The idea of this meal possibly being the last stuck to him, causing his limbs to fail motion constantly. All that could be thought in his mind was the fear, but possible truth, that this meal he had lovingly prepared almost with Lisa was to be his last ever. Tom swallowed harshly and choked on the pain it gave him, the food having extended his esophagus enough to sting in a prickly sense. The choking sound he made prompted Lisa to stand and usher herself to his side, the man waving her off dismissively. Just swallowed too hard. It hurt. Clearing his throat, he smiled at Lisa and she smiled back, both individuals harboring the sense of nervousness behind the curves of their lips. As both gazes slid to the clocked numbers perched on the stove time. It's getting pretty late. Almost 7. Stating the time, Lisa stating the time, Tom slowly pushed away the remnants of his dish with a sigh, standing from his chair to move towards the living room, leaving Lisa standing alone briefly before she followed, the two seating themselves onto the couch once more. The sun faded outside, slowly disappearing behind the distant horizon line and taking its light with it. Rays that once held themselves in the windows now faded as the night loomed over, stars dotting between the clouds to glow brightly in the sky, and signal the closing of Tom's final act. With the darkness encasing his home, filling the rooms that had no lights on, he could feel the fear well up in his stomach, soon boiling over to cause shaking through his limbs. This was it. The time was growing closer, and no longer could he hide. He knew that the demon was after him tonight for good. Sonic.exe had finally grown tired of their game. The one thing Tom feared deeply, though never admitting it. He had hoped that the demon would have been entertained longer, but alas, as the clock seemed to painstakingly climb to the later hours of the day, the end was coming closer. There was a change, however, for originally it was thought that this moment he would spend alone, but not this time. He had Lisa, and that is what mattered to him at this moment. He had someone who cared for him enough to be here within his last moments, even if it marked her own as well. Lisa seemed to come to grip that thought, and her hand traveled to grab Tom's with sincerity, her eyes glancing to his pale, sweating face. How about we watch a movie? We can distract ourselves and maybe sleep. Who knows? Maybe tonight isn't the night. Lifting her hand to his face, Lisa held a cheek in her palm while planting her lips against his damp skin, leaning away to grab the remote control and turn on the TV. Nothing out of the ordinary. So with this, Lisa put on a movie for the two of them to watch, until they felt more so tired than before. 11 p.m. The numbers shone brightly from the stovetop clock in the darkness. Dinner seemed but a stagnant memory that felt like ages ago. With their dishes scattered on the table and near the sink, their bodies stuck on the couch and wrapped in blankets, the air surrounding the pair was warm and full of a sweet scent, primarily Lisa's, as she lay her head against Tom's shoulder, eyes opening and staring at the movement on the TV, while Tom's eyes stayed closed, briefly napping in their position. Everything around them seemed to remain still. Even when the people on the screen moved, it felt slow, as if time was beginning to grow still. They both noticed this shift. Lisa soon sat up and looked around as if she heard a noise, eyes glancing to Tom as he too lifted his head and looked around with a weary gaze. "Something doesn't feel right, Tom," Lisa muttered, standing up from the couch. "Do you feel it too?" The woman soon walked to the kitchen and looked at the clock on the stove, exhaling as she saw the minutes shift in the nick of time, a smile spreading on her lips. "Maybe it's just getting late." She turned to Tom as he too entered the kitchen, holding the blanket that they had been using on the couch. A smile stayed on Lisa's visage as she stepped past him and towards the remote, switching off the TV and once again turning to Tom, gesturing to the stairs as she spoke. "Want to head to your bed? It's more comfortable than the couch." A shrug adding to his nod was given to the girl, he himself giving an exhausted mannerism with his movements, sluggishly bringing his body to the stairs to head towards his bedroom, Lisa following close behind. The pair walked into the room with the door following to shut, first undressing partially, Tom to be in just his boxers with a shirt and Lisa in a tank top and underwear. Their bodies moved to the bed when done and laying upon the mattress to let the blankets encase them as they grew comfortable together. With a gentle look towards Lisa, Tom questioned her.
"May I hold you? If that's okay."
With his inquiry, she gave him a soft nod and scooted closer, hiding her face to his chest and wrapping an arm around the man, closing her eyes as he too closed his. The world seemed to relax again as they drifted off into sleep, Tom feeling no nightmares to stain his mind as he rested. Then it happened. A loud crash rang from downstairs, causing the pair to jump awake and stare at the bedroom door with shaking sweats. Lisa first stood, walking to Tom's closet to look for a weapon. "Do you have anything in here?" she asked as she turned to him, and Tom shook his head no as he stepped to his dresser, pulling out a pair of sweats while then turning to look around as he slipped them over his legs and up to his hips. Lisa ushered herself to the door and pressed her ear against it, glancing back to Tom with a shaking sigh. "I don't hear anything now, but something is down there. Do you want me to call 911? As she stood away from the door to ask, Tom nodded and reached his hand for the doorknob.
"My phone's downstairs, along with a baseball bat that I keep in the hallway closet that leads to the front door. I'll grab the bat, you grab my phone, and hide in the bathroom."
Tom began to open the door. "Wait, what?" Lisa asked as she shut the door again, looking at Tom. "What about you? I'm not letting you fight this alone. I told you that." Before she could speak more, Tom gripped her shoulders and looked into her eyes, a stern nature taking over his voice.
"You are helping by making sure the police are called while I look for him. If they're on their way while I take care of him, they can arrive in the middle of it all and save us time. And save us in time. I know you want to help more physically, Lisa."
He paused as he watched tears begin to fall down her face, the woman's glossy eyes seeming to relay the message of her affection to him, he himself brushing it off only for the moment.
"But when you're safe in the bathroom and I'm handling that thing, you can get help here if I don't make it and have it for you. All I want is for you to be safe, Lisa, because I've been expecting this for years now. It's time I face him head on."
As he finished, she broke into sobs and hugged onto the man, Tom wrapping her arms around her in comfort while she wept.
There's this really slow-moving car coming up the road. Just give me a second, guys.
Is that your grandpa?
No. I don't know.
Oh, might be to the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Whitings. Sorry, my neighbor's driving by.
All I want is for you to be safe, Lisa, because I've been expecting this for years now. It's time I face him head on.
As he finished, she broke into sobs and hugged onto the man, Tom wrapping his arms around her in comfort while she wept, his eyelids closing to make the comfort overwhelm him from the embrace, calming him only for now.
"Just beeline for my phone, okay?"
Lisa nodded, cueing Tom to reach for the handle and turn, pulling the door open to let them gain entrance to the staircase leading downstairs at the end of the hall. Together, they walked down the
Sorry, I had a comment come up and that fucking made me laugh. I'm sorry.
Together they walked down the steps, Tom leading with Lisa clutching onto his shoulder. Their feet seemed to move in synchronization with each other, their bodies close and never drifting. At the final step, Lisa did as she was told and bolted to Tom's phone that was left on the kitchen table, soon running past the man and up the stairs, proceeding to the bathroom as planned. Tom himself grabbed the aforementioned baseball bat and clutched a grip onto its handle to hold it taut and in ready for fighting. It stayed this way as he stepped into the kitchen, seeing nothing but an open fridge, and his eyes drifted down to the blood splattered on the floor and a half-ripped open bag of ground meat. Grimacing, this prompted him to look around the area to search for any open windows. He hoped in his gut that he'd find one open and that a raccoon had snuck in or something, but then again, not many animals can tear apart a fridge such as it lay. Food was scattered in the top part of the appliance, stains now spreading from dripping liquid, looking as if it was raided by a starving individual searching for its next meal. The blood from the opened meat package was unsettling too. At this point, he felt like it was all just a lucid dream, and he'd wake up in his bed soon, arms wrapped tight around Lisa and nothing wrong in the world. The man hoped this as he set the baseball bat down onto the kitchen counter near his sink, bending over to pick up the half-ripped open package of meat for the trash, only to drop it as he stood. Chills struck down his spine as a voice rang out, sounding so close that it pounded his eardrums. It didn't sound like it was in his head either, no. The voice sounded as if it was right behind him, and it was not Lisa's.
You know something funny?
The voice began, Tom standing frozen in his kitchen back towards the direction of the voice.
Meat has a lot of different tastes. Variety. Like the difference between beef, chicken, pork, and elk. Animals, generally, and humans.
A throaty chuckle escaped the voice as a squelching sound followed. The chewing of meat was nearly deafening to Tom.
Animals, you can normally taste the nature in them. The fact that most have eaten grass.
An unseen smirk to Tom spread on the demon's bloody face.
But humans, they always taste different no matter what. And never the same. Some human meat is sweet, some sour, some savory. You get the idea.
More squelching sounded as Tom slowly began to turn to face the voice. His eyes growing wide with a hand clasping over his mouth and nose as he looked to the being ahead of him.
Wouldn't you be curious to try humans sometime, Tom? After all.
As he looked to the demon, he began backing away. The counter behind soon stopped him with its edge. A loud shatter erupted next to him, glass pelting his pant leg. A yelp escaped Tom's throat, his attention not waning from the demon in his kitchen, who was chuckling at the scene laid out before him. Tom was stricken with fear, mouth agape, as his eyes met the glowing red gaze from his nightmares.
There's always a chance for a change of pace.
The demon was unlike anything Tom had ever imagined. Not only did the creature not even look close to Sonic the Hedgehog, aside from the quills and facial structure, but he was almost human-like in appearance. Anthropomorphic, 6 feet tall roughly, and he had devilishly ebony black sclera with red irises. Blood trickled down his cheeks in a steady flow. The body of this demon had the build of a human, larger arms, a built abdomen that was splattered with blood, jeans fitted to his hips held in place with a leather belt, and the unmistakable Sonic shoes worn on his feet. His claws seemed to gleam from the blood on them, fingertips stained, and his mouth, as well as the demon, were messy with the crimson stains. As he swallowed the last morsel of meat, the creature flashed his blood-stained teeth in a grin to the human staring at him.
You're easy.
Sputtering out the sentence in fear as he reached behind him for the bat, the demon swung his legs to the right as he jumped from sitting on top of the island counter, turning to Tom with his arms out in a now-you-see-me fashion.
The one and only.
He spoke as his arms folded to cross.
You seem a bit shocked. After all, I've been after you for years.
EXE rolled his eyes as the grin widened.
I thought you knew me well enough by now.
Hesitating to reply, Tom gripped tightly onto the bat, casting a glare towards the creature in front of him. Disbelief coated his visage, causing EXE to chortle at the meek display of courage, and his grin to turn into a sickening smile with sharp, blood-stained teeth. I never knew you at all, you sick fuck! Stepping to let himself grow closer to the living room, Tom never let his eyes fall from EXE. Checking the demon all over to make sure no tricks were hidden behind. The way he appeared was sure as hell off-putting, as Tom had expected simply a Sonic ripoff, but this was way more. This was more dangerous. He knew this as he backed into the living room, EXE following slowly, keeping a steady distance. You know it's... sorry, wrong person. Oh my god, wrong person talking. You know it's rude to destroy someone's fridge when you stop by for a snack, right? Tom chuckled weakly as he continued back, using his leg to push the coffee table over and in between himself and EXE. This prompted EXE to stop and glance up at Tom with a seriously expression, chuckling slightly.
You know, your weak display of courage is more amusing than it is doing anything.
As the demon spoke, Tom scrunched up his face and gave a hollering shout. Shut it! Gripping the bat tighter and holding it as if he was in the baseball field himself, he seemed to be readying for the most dangerous pitch of his life. You were tired of it too, eh? This little thing you got going on with me? I'm sick of this twisted little game you want to fucking play. I'm fucking tired of you. Tom spit out near EXE's shoe, the amused smile dropping from the hedgehog's muzzle as he kept his stare to Tom across from him. I won't give you the fucking satisfaction of taking me down so easily. As he said this, EXE rolled his eyes and put his hands onto his hips, cocking an eyebrow up to his statement.
You think you have a chance of standing up to me?
God! As he finished, EXE let out a loud, echoing laugh, then launched himself at Tom at high speed. The man then threw his body down onto the carpet to avoid an instant kill shot from the demon. He scrambled to his feet in a huff, his heart racing almost miles per second as his legs kicked up much like in his dreams. And he sprinted to the kitchen in a flurry, trying to use the walls separating both rooms to his advantage. Almost playing Ring Around the Rosie with EXE. The demon caught this and immediately growled loudly in annoyance, punching his hand through the wall to try and grab Tom from the other side, calling out, Get the fuck over here! As the commotion continued downstairs, Lisa covered her mouth and whimpered in fear. The dispatcher was on the line, trying to keep her calm as the fight ensued, yet she couldn't stand it. She couldn't take the fact that she was sitting there doing nothing, while Tom fought a literal demon down below. Bless you.
Thank you.
It was unfair, and she knew it was a fight that Tom wouldn't win. Not without help. Tossing her phone down onto the tile while the dispatcher cried out in a shock, Ma'am, please don't leave the bathroom, stay on the line! Lisa sprinted down the stairs and rushed to the bottom step, seeing Tom and the demon in the living room again, and the bat Tom had been using discarded near the steps. Tom was bleeding from the top of his head, it rushing down his face, and his helpless plea of save me was plastered on his visage. Hold up. Okay, we're good. Lisa reached for the baseball bat and snuck behind the pair, listening as EXE monologued briefly.
You trying to avoid the inevitable is hilarious, Tom. Truly. What? You thought that once you brought that fucking broad into your life, she was gonna save all of your problems? Save you from me?
EXE lifted his foot and slammed it down onto the toppled coffee table. It immediately splintered to pieces upon impact, and the wood pelted against Tom's body as he hunched closer to the wall, shakily breathing as he tried to stand. I never thought that for once, you beast! Tom trailed off as he noticed Lisa behind EXE, lifting the bat over her head.
I just wanted to try and catch you by surprise.
As Tom finished this, Lisa swung with all of her might and brought the bat crashing against EXE's head, the demon being taken by surprise and toppling over into the wood splintered below him. Tom used this to jump over the demon and rush to Lisa's side, she herself grabbing the disc in her hand and holding Tom to her. I got you, Tom! I got you! Lisa smiled and gave a sweet laugh as she held the baseball bat in front of her, lifting the disc clutched between two fingers. The pair watched as EXE stood from the rubble and shook the wood off of his body, growling loudly with his slightly yellow, blood-stained teeth showing in his snarl. Hey! Looking for this, you big blue bastard! Lisa teased as she shook the disc in front of her with a little cackle. Once we destroy this, it's over for you. EXE saw this and immediately tried to suppress his smile. What those two little idiots had no idea of was that he had initially spread the message that by destroying the disc, it, in turn, would destroy him. Right? Slowly leaning back, the demon had to give in. He stared at the two mortals ahead of him with a defeated expression, acting worried.
What do you think you're doing?
His demonic voice shook as he watched Tom and Lisa grow smiles on their faces, and they both clutched each side of the disc together, readying themselves to snap the disc in half.
I am so ready to watch you burn!
Tom huffed through his bloody teeth as he and Lisa began to apply pressure. The pair watching as the demon ahead of them let out a pained yowl, trying to reach for them as they soon snapped the disc. EXE watching the remnants of glass fall onto the ground at their feet. Red smoke rose from around where the demon was standing, swirling up and around him as he gave an echoing call, yelling in a pained cry. I can never take this line seriously, so I just go, no! Because I can never take it seriously. I'm sorry. No! As the demon faded from their vision, Tom gave a happy yell and hugged Lisa, spinning the woman in a circle as they looked at one another. They had done it! The demon was finally gone. Tom couldn't hold back the tears as he felt the heaviest anvil lift from off of his chest. Lisa, too, couldn't contain her excitement, and she gave Tom the largest kiss she could muster, tears flowing down her cheeks. We did it, big guy! Cheering out, she ran up the stairs and checked the floor. She ran up the stairs and grabbed the phone on the bathroom floor, checking to see if the operator was still there. Yes, ma'am. We're okay now. The threat is gone. It's gone. Lisa whooped as she ran back down the stairs, looking for where Tom was standing, only to see Tom's feet off of the floor, and a hand gripped around his throat, with EXE standing in front of him. As she stood at the bottom of the stairs, the demon slowly turned his head to her, his mouth widely distended down to his chest, and his ebony black eyes now a pure red. A hand reached out from his mouth into her, which she let out a scream and dropped the phone, rushing into the kitchen to grab a knife. Lisa searched around for protection, as she knew that a bat would not be strong enough, but as she looked, she felt large arms wrap around her body and she was lifted, immediately screaming in fear, and she kicked her legs and screamed for help. This prompted her to be thrown into the wall that separated the kitchen from the hallway between the living room and kitchen, her back cracking as she hit the wall itself and falling onto a small dresser underneath where she had landed, small memorabilia falling around her while she landed on her stomach with a hard thump. EXE stepped past the kitchen island and walked to Lisa, leaning down and grabbing a fistful of her hair. He dragged the helpless woman into the living room and threw her at Tom, who had just stood, and sent them both against the farthest living room wall. He was laughing uncontrollably during all of this. This game ending had been way more fun than he had anticipated, and the way these two fought was the most fun he had had in years. The patrons of the disc itself were always trying to be headstrong the more times he replayed their ends, but it was never this fun. As he stepped to them, EXE grinned widely. His eyes had returned to normal, and the hand from before was no longer protruding from his mouth.
Now this is the finale I was wanting! You two have been the most eventful little shits I have played with in years! A little disc trope was perfect, wasn't it?
As he questioned the two, he slowly levitated himself from the floor and peered down to them with a sickening grin. His claws extended and dripped with fresh blood. His claws extended and dripping with fresh blood. Lisa's blood. She tried to adjust herself. The cuts she had acquired on her chest now flow with bright blood. I had to censor, sorry guys. The copper-tasting liquid filling the room with its permeating smell. However, as she tried to adjust herself, she was immediately grabbed on the wrist, EXE pulling her away from Tom and throwing her towards the TV. Lisa cried out as she was flung against it, and blood shot from her mouth and onto the side of the demon's leg where he stood. Lisa! Tom called and rushed up to try and grab her, but he was too slow. as EXE punted his leg into Tom's abdomen and watched him and sent him up against the ceiling, watching his body flail helplessly with the impact and seeing him crash onto the carpet filled EXE with glee. I'm so sorry, guys, if I keep tripping up on my words. I'm kind of talking a little fast, so forgive me.
You're both so fucking amusing. And this little charade that I played all of these years was simply an act, Tom. I just wanted to bide my time for you. Bide my time for this debut. You see, Tom.
EXE stepped to the man heaving on the floor, gripping the back of his hair and lifting his head, glaring into his eyes.
I was using your fear to build my power, to become stronger. I couldn't sustain myself in your world, but now I can! Thanks to you, Tom, and that foolish little bitch of yours, I'm finally free. So I thank you for that.
Patting Tom's face, he stood up and smiled widely, his sharp teeth stained with fresh blood.
Wait, what?
Tom sputtered out the question as he looked to EXE, soon having his head dropped as he was let go of, his nose smacking against the carpet harshly. The way he was spoken to like a child caused Tom to grow frustrated, lifting himself to stand. Tom could hear Lisa's soft whimpers as EXE slowly approached her. And all instinct called for him to jump up and launch onto the creature's back. The spikes that were on the demon immediately drove themselves into Tom's body and face, the man crying out, "Get away from her!" The sudden jump caught EXE off guard once more as he threw Tom off and against the TV himself, growling loudly and stepping to him.
You pathetic little mortal! Do you know who you're messing with?
Tom reached for under the TV inside the stand and pulled out his hidden-away pistol, cocking it. Suddenly, the demon froze as Tom slowly raised the pistol in front of him, pointed right at EXE's face.
Game over, he snarled, and Tom pulled the trigger.
Panting, Tom watched as EXE fell back against the couch, and he couldn't believe that a gun took him out. Tom laughed in disbelief and looked at his pistol, kissing the side loudly and sighing.
Why did I forget I had you?
However, his celebration was ceased as he heard Lisa groan next to him, the man shifting his attention to her and pulling the girl up next to him.
Oh, Lisa. Lisa, I'm so sorry.
Tom took his shirt off and immediately slipped it over Lisa, covering the woman up and pulling her into his arms. EXE lay motionless on the couch, his eyelids closed and his body not moving. This gave Tom a chance to stand and look at him in full, to see this grotesque being that had haunted him for all these years, looking the way he did. It was still throwing him off. Tom looked over and saw that his phone had been shattered and now lay in pieces near the stairs, which prompted remembrance. The police never got the address of where they were. Tom's attention glanced over to Lisa as she stood, her exhausted expression showing that she was somewhat okay as she held her head. All of this just made her want to go home and forget the day, to curl up next to Tom and let her sorrows fade away.
EXE could give her that.
As the two stood faced away from him, EXE slowly rose to his feet one more time, chuckling low before it rose into a peal of extremely loud laughter, almost deafening the two humans below him. This was finally it. The last straw that he needed to get this over with. I'm going to warn you guys right now, I am going to read this next part. I'm not going to censor it. It is extreme gore. If this makes you uncomfortable, you have every right to click away. I'm just warning you guys, it's extremely gory and detailed. Grabbing a fistful of Lisa's hair, EXE lifted her off of her feet and threw her once more. This time, her scalp ripped itself from her head as she screamed, chunks of flesh ripping with her hair as the strength he threw her almost completely ripped her scalp away. There she now lay, tears streaming down her face and blood pouring from her head. The demon kicked Tom backward and made his way to the girl, raising her up in front of him. The demon hooked his hands to her jaw. Slowly he separated them, wider, wider, wider. The tearing and gurgled screams from Lisa's mouth filled the house as she felt her jaws unhinging from her skull. Eventually, they snapped almost clean off, and her eyes rolled back into her skull as EXE tossed her body to the ground. Lifting his foot, he stomped into her rib cage and watched as her body caved underneath his pressure, the ribs poking out through her flesh and ripping the meat from her bones. Tom called out for Lisa and screamed in anger, standing to run at EXE. The demon flung himself back demon flung him back again and cackled. Grabbing the man's pistol he had discarded, the demon lifted it to the male's temple and held him still against the wall, grinning widely.
Oh, Tom, you poor bastard. Don't you remember? I can't die. Why?
Clicking the pistol ready, EXE winked to Tom and smirked, teeth flashing.
I am God!
Sirens. The sound of the sirens grew louder as the house grew still. 2 patrons, now dead. Not his first human kills, but for sure the first kills he had made whilst having complete freedom. No longer was the faint feeling present such as it had been before, but he felt exhilarated and excited at the sight that lay before him. Sonic.exe had finally done what he had wanted for years. Finally, he had freed himself from that damned disc he had been trapped in for so long, and with Tom's help. Slowly, the demon moved to set the pair's corpses up onto the couch and gun into Tom's hand to imply suicide. For good measure, though, EXE blasted another shot into Tom's temple to splatter his brains onto the window he had looked out of all those years. His windows could see the brains on the window if they wished. As the sirens grew louder, he deduced that one of the neighbors heard the commotion and called law enforcement, which was fine by him, no problems there. EXE stepped away from the couch and bent down to retrieve the broken disc, crunching it in his hand while sprinkling the glass dust onto the carpet.
I suppose I no longer need you all. Thank you for serving me.
As he kept the grin, he made his way out the back of the house, opening the door and shutting it behind him, making his figure unseen by others as he stepped into the wooding nearby, disappearing into the brush. EXE kept himself in a tree as he watched the cops swarm the household, seeing how it was somewhat of a SWAT movement, and he loved it. If only he had popcorn, for sure this would be the perfect show. Now what ran through his mind was a simple question. What should he do now? Now that he had killed Tom and was officially free, EXE thought it could cause some celebration, but how? Linking himself to another human seemed boring, for if he had the choice, that little game would have ended with Tom years ago. But he needed to keep the bastard alive until he was strong enough. A part of him wanted to have dragged their deaths out farther, for their screams as he ripped into their flesh and minds was almost melodious to his ears. The fear in their eyes, the sounds of their blood dripping from their fresh wounds. The demon scorned himself for not snagging a taste. Jumping down from the tree, he landed onto the grass with a huff and turned to dash into the forest, shooting past the scenery without a second glance, and farther away from Tom's home he went, until he arrived in the main forests of Oklahoma. This was now a new world to inhabit, an empty, longing world to claim, and with a little work, it could happen. How would he get started surely gave him great joy to think of. Just thinking of causing the same torment he had enacted upon those two to the entire human race. EXE felt joy spread through his thoughts as he jumped through the scenery, over roads, and eventually into the distance he went, with a whole world ripe for his taking. The original story belongs to JC. Tom and Kaw's variations have been claimed by myself. The OG Sonic.exe belongs to Astra. EXE belongs to myself, Kenny Under X. And bada bing, bada boom! You guys just read the entire fucking story of Sonic.exe with me. How we feeling, guys? Well, Sonic.exe Rebooted. How we feeling? How we feeling? How are you guys feeling after that? If you guys want to actually say something to me, this is now your chance to request speaking. Warning you guys, this space is recorded, so I'm just letting you know. This is now your chance. You guys can now request to speak and tell me what you guys thought. Genuinely. Alright, I got a request up here. We're going to let Pip up here. We're going to let Calamari up here. I'm going to let you guys take turns, okay?
Months since I've actually listened to. Oh man.
All right, everyone who's requesting, I need you guys all to. I'm gonna let everyone come up here one at a time. So yeah. So Pip, what'd you think?
Screams. Okay. I remember months back. You did a similar thing months back. So I already know like the
Right.
story, but god damn it, it's still good. It is still good. I was about to take a nap, but as soon as I heard like
Right.
the meat quote that everybody does in the mid end, I'm like, awake, eyes open.
It's like, oh shit, shit's going down. Oh no, I can't leave now. Also, I'm letting you guys know I am now heading back inside because my phone's on like 14%. So I gotta like plug my phone in, but I'm still gonna be
phone.
here. Yeah, I'm still gonna be here.
Okay.
Don't worry. All right, hold up. Give me just a second. I'm heading back inside.
Okay.
No, but I'm so glad you liked it. I'm so glad that like you were about to like pass out. You heard that phrase. Okay, hold up. Let me. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Because I just
I
connected
can
to
hear
my
you fine. You're
my
good.
Wi-Fi. Okay. I gotta take my headphones off.
That was like a quick, long silence. Yo.
Can you guys hear me? I got disconnected. Can you
I
guys hear me?
can
I got disconnected.
I can hear you. You're fine.
I
You're
like
fine.
fucking rushed back in here. Okay, but Pip, I really appreciate that. I find that really fucking funny that you were about to sleep, and then as soon as you heard that, you were just like, yeah, no, never mind, I'm back.
Hi. Hello. I'm back.
Hell yeah, I absolutely appreciate that. That means a lot. I'm gonna bump you back down to try and get some other people up
Okay.
here. So thank you. I appreciate that for sure.
Oh, no problem.
All right. I see you. I see you. Hi, Astra. That was your first time hearing it. What did you think? Holy shit. Ah! 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 Melt in a puddle. Eee! Ah! I'm so glad you liked it. Oh my god, I didn't expect to hear applause when I let you up here.
That was very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Bro, that was great.
I didn't I actually oh my god, I'm so happy that you were here for it though. Like, cause I know that you haven't like heard the whole story yet. Oh, my cat's on me. Hi, girl. Hi, sweetheart. But was there like anything about it that like kind of stuck out
Ah! You're cutting off. Hang on.
or
Maybe
okay, sorry,
it's.
no worries. No worries. I'm melting a puddle. I'm melting in a puddle.
Are we good? Are you
Yeah,
good?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Anyway. Ah! That is my opinion. Very good. 10 out of 10.
Thank you. That makes me really happy.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Because I did I did my best on it, and it's like my pride and joy. So like
It shows. It
it
shows.
it means a lot that you were here the whole time though, because I know that was that your first time like hearing the whole story, or
Yeah, it was.
was there
I haven't heard
anything?
any of it before.
That's not.
Ah!
Thank you
so glad that you liked it. Was there anything like specific that stuck out, or?
Oh man, I honestly thought it'd be like Freddy Krueger style, where there'd be like a good ending, but man,
No, like honestly,
I'm like happy ending, but you know what I mean. But you know what? This is better because this will lead to more evil, more brutal things. Yes.
yes, absolutely. He is a dubious little creature. We love him.
He is a devious creature. He is a devious, huge creature.
Absolutely, I love
He
him.
is, he's not dubious and little. He is devious and huge.
He's devious and huge.
Yes,
Absolutely, he's
devious and
humongous.
huge.
Oh, there's a cat on me. Ah! Hello, cat. Well, I
Alright.
absolutely appreciate that. That makes me feel so good. I'm gonna bump it down so I can let some other people up here, but thank you, Aster. That means
That's
so much.
fine. I was about to say I should probably like turn my mic off so others can speak.
No worries. I'll bump you back later so you don't have to worry. But thank you. That means
Alrighty
so
then.
much.
Of course, of course, of course. Ah!
Ah, melts the puddle. Okay, Nolan, what's up? What's
Hello
up? What
there.
did you think?
It is Kurt.
What did you think?
I've heard it before, but honestly, it was better hearing you read it.
Ahim.
You just it was like I remember the first time I read it, it was caught so off guard.
No, yeah, like honestly, like I wanted it to be like one of those like moments where it was like you think it's gonna get better, but then nah, and then you think it's gonna get better again, and then nah,
You pulled
it's.
it off so well.
I hope it didn't like come off as like almost like. I hope it didn't like come off as like monotonous that like it was so many like I guess false hopes that were given at the end there, but I'm glad that a lot of people
I feel
really
like it
liked
made it
that
better, to be
ending.
honest.
Ah, that makes me feel good. I'm really glad that I did a good job on it, or at least from what people are telling me. Was there anything that like specifically like stuck out for you, or?
That like entire ending scene, just like that fight was just like there's so many things that happened. It was just God, I loved it so much.
I'm glad. I'm really proud of that ending. Honestly, like it especially the detail on Lisa's death. That's like that
Oh
was
my
like
God,
that was
that
honestly
part
my favorite part.
that part killed me the first time.
That was my favorite part typing out because I was like, I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers with Lisa, bro.
You
Like
put
I'm
so
gonna
much
make.
more. I
Oh,
gotta say, I love hearing you read it because you put so much damn emotion into it.
I did my best. I know my voice isn't like a lot,
Yeah, you did great.
but I'm glad that a lot of people liked it, even though it was like really cruddy. Not
I got the environment too. I'm sitting here in the middle of my house at 2 a.m. and it's pitch black.
yo, let's go. I was sitting outside in like pitch dark. It was fucking nice. I was like, yeah, yeah. I
Mood
got the
lighting.
perfect environment. All right. Well, I appreciate everything that you've said. I'm gonna bump you back down so that I can
Hey,
get some other people up here. But thank you. I appreciate you so much.
you did good stuff.
Thank you. This is probably the biggest space I've had to a rebooted reading. Hey,
Yo,
calamari, what's
can
good?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Nice. Okay, I just want to say that was wonderful, absolutely fantastic. Also, big question, very important question, very serious question. Um, after hearing Rebooted going on, like about how good human meat tastes, how good various types of meat taste. How would it go down? Rebooted versus Gordon Ramsay. I gotta know.
You don't have enough sauce, Rebooted. It's fucking raw, Rebooted. Well, maybe that's how I like it. They would just fucking scream at each other. That would be the funniest fucking showdown ever. Oh my
goodness.
god.
It's my headcanon thing. It wouldn't get physical at all. It would just be them just screaming their guts out.
Screaming at each other, and then at one point Rebooted would like burn the meat on purpose just to piss off her.
Gordon's just gonna slap him with like 2 pieces of bread.
What are you? I'm an idiot.
Those this episode. This guy who got like up in Gordon's face. Remember that?
Yeah.
He got escorted out. I think that's how it's gonna play out.
Rebooted fucking escorted off of the set of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I love this so much. It's wonderful.
I'm really glad. It's my pride and joy, and I really appreciate when I get to like show it to other people because it's my everything. I love Rebooted so much.
Hey, if the more you do this, I mean, it's inevitable. I'm gonna make a bunch of jokes, so I apologize for that. I was spamming them so much during this.
Because they would show up. They would like show up at the top of my phone while I was reading, and I was like trying not to fucking laugh because all I saw was this image of Gordon Ramsay.
I mean, they just popped up. Like when I heard you say someone was biting on, you know, this is perfect. Rebooted coming out of nowhere, just nibbling on.
No, yeah, I had this like fucking little like ant biting on me, and I had to fucking flick it off. It fucking hurt.
You just imagine like this tiny buff hedgehog biting at your ankles. Oh my goodness.
No, like the little hedgehog with the pants I drew earlier for the 3K. It's just fucking at my feet.
All right, go and bump me down.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you said. Thank you.
Of course.
Man, I'm like out of breath. I'm like all excited and shit. All right, we got names aplenty up here. Hey, what's up, man?
Hello.
How you doing? How'd you like the story? What'd you think?
I haven't listened to a lot of like actual EXE stories, like basically ever. First experience listening to a full-fledged EXE story from a creator. Fucking phenomenal. Everyone did so well.
Melts in a bottle. I'm so proud of this story. I could talk for like hours on just how much I'm so proud of Rebooted.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. You should be proud.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Of course.
I just man, like it brings me so much joy being able to like show like what I've done because like I'm like so proud of it. So then when other people are like loving it just as much as I do, it's almost like when you find someone that has the same special interest as you, so then you can both just sit there fucking screaming about it.
Yeah, I get that.
Was there anything about the story that like stuck out to you at all? Like a specific part that like stuck out to you at any capacity?
My man Tom. I gotta appreciate him.
And we love Tom here. He's tried his damn best, bro. He was up against a god. Come on.
He put up a decent fight. Tried to save his girl. May have died, but like, come on. You gotta appreciate his effort.
No, honestly, on God, like he tried his hardest, man, but man, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, I can't wait to like show the official Tom and Lisa designs too, because it'll just add so much more depth to who they are. Everyone, when I do the animated project for his story, that's when everyone will see their official designs, and I'm excited. So.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, his story's getting animated once I get the team all together again, so I'm excited.
Shit. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. I appreciate everything that you've said. I appreciate you coming up here. I'm gonna bump you down. So
yeah, no, of course. It was fun talking.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. You have a great night, man.
Yeah.
All right. Hobo, I'm excited. Come here. I see you. Come here. Hey, what's good, man? What's good? How'd you like the story? Oh, you're muted, by the way. Guys, Hub is a loser. Hub is a loser.
Hello?
Yeah, it was good. What's up?
I'm sorry. I was in the middle of tweeting.
No, yeah, you're good. But hey, I'm looking forward to seeing Lisa die. But in reality, Nolan, I fucking just saw that. But dude, what did you think? How was it?
Okay, so I really love the story. Honestly, I'm gonna be real for a moment. The story you told, honestly, that's what I originally wanted out of the original story, and I felt so disappointed ever since. But reading your story, that that gave me like almost anything I wanted when I was little, and actually kind of brought me to tears a bit. I don't know. I've just been very passionate about that. It's kind of odd. Yeah, no, I really love it. I love Rebooted. He's one of my favorite characters. Honestly, so well fucking written.
I do my best. He's like, the thing is that it's gonna be so nice watching character development because in his story, everyone sees where he's kind of like, cocky, he's a little playful, he's kind of like, oh yeah, you're a little bitch, right? But in the mansion, he's like calm, he's reserved, he's more kind of
That's that
like
character growth.
yeah, he's more of like that kind of like father figure. He's just kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, I'm here. Yeah, I'm so excited to develop on like his character in like the mansion.
I'm gonna say this actually. Honestly, hearing you read the story, I'm actually now I've made some lore thing relating to my own creature, my own exe, and I've just thought I should just write a story about them. I think
Do
it's a
it.
lot easier.
Do it. Fucking write a story about
Yeah.
your character. Fucking do it. It is so
The-
fun writing
yeah,
out your character.
I gave them a new name and everything. They still go by 32X, but their official real name that they give themselves once they feel more completed is a Xenia.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to see it. Like, don't be afraid to like share updates in my server because I know you're in the underground. So like
Oh
don't be
yeah,
afraid.
I've been doing that for a while actually.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
I've probably not spotted it then. I'll have to check that out.
I actually did send a Twitter link of what I drew for like your Kenny fan art. It's just basically me thanking you for showing me a lot of kindness in this community because yeah,
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, like everyone deserves it, man. So like, no worries. Like, you're always gonna get that from me. I mean that.
yeah, I'm almost actually done writing the little thing on my tweet. So
Hell yeah. Well, I
yeah, I
appreciate everything. Sorry, I didn't cut you off. I just wanted to let you know
no,
that I appreciate everything that you said. It means a
uh,
lot to like hear how much you've loved like the story and how much you liked hearing it. It like means a lot, genuinely.
yeah. Honestly, you're just a big inspiration. No,
I well, I'm glad that I'm seen that way, but I never want to like I never want anyone to feel like they have to look up to me, but I appreciate when
no, it's
people do.
completely fine. No,
No,
it's
yeah.
completely understandable. It's just I don't know. The stuff you do, like you're just a good person, honestly, and that's just what I love about those type of people. They're just honest and kind.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna bump you down so I can get the last of these people up here, and then I'll take some more like requests and stuff, and then
Could I say
everyone
one
just
more?
like finish up. Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Can you please follow me at the Hobobat on Twitter.com, please?
Oh, you self promo. Get your ass out of here. You self promote yourself. Get out of here.
I'm out of here.
Fucking self promoting yourself. How dare you? I'm kidding. All right. This is the loony one. Hello, hello.
It was awesome.
Ah, thank you. I really appreciate that a lot.
It's just I'll admit there was like a standout moment for me is just how many like fake outs were in my mind. Like if you ever seen the Austin Power movies, one of the things I was thinking because it seemed like he's dead, but now everyone's like, why won't you die?
No, right? Like for real. It's like, why won't you fucking die?
Yeah, but for real though, that was actually an amazing reading that you did.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I was hoping that the voices I did were, good to like, I guess, like interpret how the characters are and who they are.
Hey, I actually liked it, and I'll be honest. I actually been wanting to do something like this for my exe Splinter, but I'm kind of nervous on how it would go. So I feel like
Well, I mean, just just do what feels right to you, genuinely, and don't ever be afraid to like talk to those who are close to you. Be like, hey, can I get like a little help on this? Never be afraid to ask for help because that's how I got help on Rebooted. I asked close friends. I was like, hey, can you like read this over for me? Can you hear me read this? Does this sound okay? And just don't be afraid to talk to those who are close to you and like get some input on it or like share it in public spaces that not like public but like private friend spaces and be like, hey, can I have some input? Like you never be afraid to ask for help, especially in terms of writing, because sometimes it can get a little overwhelming when you're doing it all by yourself. So don't be afraid to ask for help ever.
alrighty then. Thanks for the advice.
Of course, and thank you for telling me that you liked the story. I really appreciate that.
It's no problem.
All right, I'm gonna throw you back down so I can get some other people up here. But thank you so much,
No
genuinely.
problem.
You have a great night.
You too.
All right, next I've seen you. You've been waiting kind of a little bit. I got I got Chad up here. Inferno. Hey, Inferno, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
That was a roller coaster of a story. Jesus Christ. Outstanding performance.
Ah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Was there anything in the story that like stuck out for you or like anything at all?
The end. It was so brutal.
I really did my best on it. I tried to make it like one of the most like brutal endings I could, like no remorse whatsoever.
Bro, the rib cage. Oh, I'm just
No,
so.
yeah, I loved doing the details on the death scene at the end. It was really nice to like not nice, but like it was like fun to write it.
That's literally all I have to say.
Yeah, of course, no worries. I appreciate everything that you've said. Like, I really appreciate that you like the story. I'm gonna bump you down so I can get someone else up here, but I'm glad you tuned in. Like, thank you for being here.
I.
Yeah, have a great night, man.
Goodbye.
All right, next, I'm gonna put Marsh up here. Absolutely love the profile picture. It's so cute. Hey, hello. How
Oh,
you doing?
hi. I'm doing good. Thank
So, what did you think about the
Loved
story?
it.
How'd you like it?
Fire. That was fire.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And when it was about to say I am God, I was like, say the line, rebooted. And then it was like, I am God.
Say the line. It's like he said it. He said it. It's like you're throwing your popcorn in the air. It's like he said the line.
Yeah.
The fuck, that's funny. Well, I appreciate that. Oh my god, was there anything else in the story that like stood out for you or anything?
I guess like for the entire story, like wanted to animate it if I had an animation software.
Dude, that would be fucking awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming up here. I appreciate you telling me that you liked it because that makes me really happy, like genuinely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bump you down so I can get the last of these lovely folks up here to get their opinions on it. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you've said. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me speak.
Yeah, of course. No, great night.
Night.
I'm like, I'm like keeping Arthur's bitch ass for last, bro. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I bet like fuck. What are you doing?
Arthur, you a bitch. Arthur, you a
Now
bitch.
you's a bitch, man.
Like halfway through to host your own space. You a loser, bro. I saw you leave to host your own space.
What?
You're mean, dude. You weren't in here.
I know I wasn't in here. I was popping in and out though.
Uh-huh.
Fuck you mean,
You couldn't stay for the whole thing.
Dickhead, because
Fake
I've already
fan.
heard this story like 3 times.
You know what? It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Actually, it does hurt.
It doesn't hurt to hear it like a 4th time.
Nah, hell no. Your voice is so grainy. I don't like you. Kenny? I think I killed Kenny. Fuck. So I guess this is my space now. How's everyone doing? Okay, because Kenny's not here, everyone follow me. I make Friday Night Funkin' mods.